Okay, welcome, buddy. Yeah, I don't know why I put the DEF CON 1 science intro in there, but oh well, it's cool. I like it. This is not a DEF CON 1 science, but hey, you know what? I made that. It's the 5% that I contributed to my own channel here, right?
95%.
So anyways, first things first, guys, it is Rum and Coke. We are going to have some fun tonight. We're going to just be doing whatever people want to talk about that's going to be non-drama related, because you know what? We've all had like drama up the ass in the last couple weeks. Screw it. Let's have some fun. I'm going to be drinking. We got some cool people in here, but we do have a prawn bomber in here, just FYI. Somebody who got Team Skeptics channel shut down for drawing inappropriate things of female anatomy, which I had nothing to do with, contrary to what people may think. But we're going to take the chance that she doesn't do it in MS Paint again. Right?
Too late.
Damn it.
So yeah, if anybody wants access to that,
Did you
that drawing,
she haven't even started drinking
that
yet.
access.
How long have you been drinking today? And by the way, I know she's been drinking for a while. I called her at like 10 a.m. She had a beer in her hand.
I've been drinking all day today, on and off. I've had 3 beers. I got a tea going. I'm making right now. But if anybody wants access to that, I actually made that picture available on my Patreon. But it's a $500 level, and it's called Scam.
Well, this is truth in advertising.
Don't do it.
And by the way, I haven't
Don't
seen that
do it.
picture, and I'm not spending $500 because I know it's a scam. But anyways, so we got look who we got
Totally
here.
not worth it.
We got obviously
I am
Cheshire.
tempted just to do it.
Look who we got in the
just
corner
to
here. We
be
got
a
vegan.
shithead.
The vegan showed up.
I did.
Hi.
Hi
Well,
guys.
look at her, and she got a haircut.
I
noticed
did.
that?
Vegan haircut.
It's all short. I'm still getting used to it again.
We also got Brandon in here.
Hello, what's going on?
And do you want me to use your first? I don't know. I use your first name all the time, right?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, it's the other Steve.
Yo.
There's too many in the community. But anyway, so hey, by the way, we sent the link out. Thanks. We got Paul in here, one of my admin guys. He's up the top here. He's kind of hidden. But I had him fix some stuff today. The Google groups weren't sending out properly, I don't think. I don't know. And so I wasn't able to see them. I did send it out to the Google group, which is a group of about 58 people that have been all checked out. And I've seen their ID, and I got their social security and their bank accounts, and I made sure that they're real humans. And, I had FBI investigations done on them, the whole 9 yards. The usual stuff that we do. And they're welcome to come in. They all have the link. If you're in the live chat and you want the link to come in, and we know who you are, just let us know. Like, Thoughts for Jay Brown. What are you still doing outside there? Have as many people come in as we can. 420 Flower Power, come on in. But yeah, we're just going to be like, I don't know, having a normal rum and coke night because we haven't had one of those for a while. I'm going to start off. I'm drinking La Cadena Canadian whiskey.
Oh.
Jessica got me into this stuff. She's Canadian.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Why do you mock us, Steve?
It's not bad. It's cheap. It's like $14 a gallon. I mean, what the hell?
Canadian whiskey's not too shabby. It's usually a little bit sweet because it's usually maple.
I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, and it's in Dire Ginger Ale, by the way. And this is
Whiskey is really good.
look what I'm drinking out of my smug.
It's the smug.
Designed by Cheshire. That's me with no
It's the-
eyes.
It's definitely better than the original one.
Oh yeah, epically.
If I do say so myself, and
Except-
I do.
I've got no eyes, people. I don't know what she's like. She's like envisioning me with no eyeballs for some.
No, you're laughing, so your eyes are like.
Vegan has a dog with no eyes, right?
Closed door.
Vegan, is you're one of your dogs? Eyeless?
What?
Isn't your one of your dogs eyeless?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mazak is my puppy.
Still a good
He's
puppy.
actually right
He's a good
here.
boy. Look at that. That's a good boy.
Hello.
Hi, honey.
Good
You want
pup.
to say hi?
Good pup.
Yeah,
By the way, I think I
hi.
just gave God's auditor a heart attack. He's like,
Yeah.
whiskey in a plastic bottle. What is wrong with you? Yes, God's auditor, check it,
There's
man.
no
Go ahead,
eyes.
suffer. I'm suffrage. This is male. This is alcohol suffrage, not like women's suffrage. But
He actually
Can't
had he had his eyes removed completely. He had he had 2 enucleations, but they were at different times. So he actually has no eyeballs.
but he's so loving. He's so cute. Yeah, he looks like he has a permanent like happy face.
Yeah.
And what are you drinking?
Yeah, he was for a while. I
fur
used
baby,
to call him my one-eyed puppy pirate, but now he's my blind doggo now.
What are you
So,
drinking?
yeah, I'm drinking moonshine with maraschino cherries and Sprite.
That sounds so
It
good.
is so good.
It sounds like
and
a
looks
sugar rush,
amazing.
though.
a little bit, but I'm okay with that.
Somebody's drinking Maker's Mark that I recommended. I didn't really recommend Maker's Mark per se. It's an okay drink. The thing about Maker's Mark is really cool is they're all handmade, and they actually dip the cap by hand into that red seal. Every one of those dipped by hand. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Maker's Mark is also like the distillery. I think is nearby in Illinois. Or I read something about that or something like that
Yeah, they have
because
tours.
my friends of mine are obsessed with Maker's Mark, and it has they have dipped stuff for like a bunch of like their swag and shit like that. So
yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not one of my favorite. I'm not for some reason. If I drink a bourbon, it's going to be more like a Jack Daniel's bourbon is obviously the one, Tennessee. But I'm not. I mean, this is okay. If I'm gonna drink whiskey, normally I'll drink a Scotch whiskey, right? Because I mean, I saw the Glenlivet 12 left, and I really like the Johnny Walker Black. But this bottle's lasted me a while, obviously. Oh, and I still got some brandy left, some E&J brandy, but I just use that for coffee.
sounds good to me.
Manya, how do you not have the link?
Manya, link.
Shit.
How does Manya not ever get the link? What is wrong with you people?
What do you mean, you people?
I sent it to everybody.
I think that's a you problem.
I literally sent it out to the group, and she's in the group, so I don't know. I'll give it to her. No, she's special, and I'll give her
I got nothing.
There's your direct invite, because Manya's
So
top
my
Manya.
favorite thing about this prawn bombing joke is that I knew it was going to happen. I was like, the first thing that's going to happen is there are people who are going to be dumb enough to take it seriously. There are going to be people who are so stupid to think that I actually prawn bombed Team Skeptic. And you'll never guess the first message somebody sent to me. First screenshot I got. Keon. Shocker. Guess what he was saying? Oh, apparently Chesh prom bombed people. Yup. Every time, every goddamn time.
So basically, Team Skeptic
reliable.
channel is okay. He's not taken down. You didn't destroy his livelihood.
Oh, he's fine. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, the only thing that actually got taken down was the stream, and that'll only be until he censors the MS Paint drawn circles.
So let's get this straight. YouTube has go look at a Jake Paul thing. I go according to Cheshire that they have all kinds of sexualized thumbnails, and yet Cheshire has an MS Paint of 2 circles. With I think 2 circles in smaller inside. Or
7. There's 7
How do you have
circles
7
in total.
nipples? How are you drawing?
Why would you make 7 nipples? What?
Why would
It's 7 circles in total. The whole drawing is made up of 7 circles or ovals.
Okay, I thought these were boobies.
Yes.
Okay. Must be a while
You have
since.
to spend, if you want to know how I ended up using 7 circles, you have to pay $500 to my
She didn't show
Patreon.
me. It's been a while since I've seen boobies, but I don't know how to do it with 7 circles. There's Manya.
Hello.
Mwah, Manya.
Check the group that you're sending the link to, because I don't know. I don't get
All right,
get the link.
I'll look at it. Well, Paul just fixed
Yeah.
some of it for us, so.
Cool. Awesome.
Oh.
So yeah, hello everybody.
Why would I want to get rid of Keon? I love Keon. He's my favorite.
She ain't lying. She has a weird fascination for Keon. I don't understand it. I have nothing to do with the guy. I don't even remember ever talking to him, to be honest with you. He was obsessed, is literally obsessed by me. I'm like his whole life.
That was my favorite. Apparently, he said recently that Steve isn't YouTube, which, of course, using Chesh's razor,
He's
I
on
think
YouTube.
Kawasa was tweeting that it means that Steve is YouTube, which is really funny because apparently, if you look at the Keon's history and what Keon watches and where Keon is, all he watches is Steve stuff. So, by
He's my biggest
Keon's
fan.
own logic, by what he does,
My biggest fan.
Steve is YouTube. So he was even still wrong.
Hate watching is still a view.
Well, you know, that's true. And by the way, Cheshire might have her very own hate viewer. She's one of mine. Oh, she was one of mine that I've never met before, never talked to, don't even know how to pronounce her name, don't even know what the hell her name is, never mentioned her. She's claiming that I talk about her frequently. Don't even know this person. Never ran into her that I recall. But Cheshire found her for some strange reason, and now she's left like 50 comments on Cheshire's videos and made like 6 more videos about Cheshire.
Okay.
For some strange reason.
Yeah, don't say the name because that's.
I can't. I
summoning
don't remember
spell for
her
them.
name. This is how much. That's how little I freaking care. It's something with a K, something or other.
That means you hit it big time now,
whatever.
Tesh.
Well, okay, so I'm probably gonna do this at some point. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of a stream just to make a point, because I was talking about it on Twitter a little bit. I was talking about like how much we get harassed, et cetera, et cetera. Like these people are saying that, oh, they're harassing us. No, none of us went over or made alternate accounts for anything. So I don't know what the hell these people are talking about. Meanwhile, I've got this person I have to block. This person that keeps coming in on multiple accounts. This person is sending super chats just to try and troll. This person is going around to other streams that I'm not even in, adding me, thinking that I'm going to watch them later to try and say I'm like committing some kind of bestiality with my dog. This person is going around like this person made one video talking shit about me. I took a look at it, like watched the video, got a bit of a chuckle out of it. They came flying into the live stream, losing their damn mind. They then left over 50 comments on my channel, 50 individual comments. That's not even including replies. Then made 9 videos within 24 hours. One of them they removed, apparently.
Yeah,
So there's
I have
8
a copy of it.
Wow.
Oh, no, we're the ones bullying. We're the ones.
Yeah, I think the 50
Yeah.
comments on one video was a bit excessive. But whatever.
Cheshire's popular.
Yeah, whatever.
The best thing was I liked her video. I liked it. I was like,
Yeah.
It was pretty funny because I'm watching this on your channel, and I'm thinking to myself but the first question in my mind is, who the hell is this person? Second of all, how does she know me? And third of all, what the hell is she even talking about?
Right, so I actually liked the video. I offered her the opportunity to like set up a time, like come and talk, come onto the show, we'll talk. Obviously, I did not mean that show because we were wrapping up. I was like, hit me up in DM, send me a message, we'll set up a time and we can talk. And then this person just went crazy for a day and a half, and I'm like, I'm debating. I haven't made the decision about whether or not to rescind my offer to actually have a conversation or not. But whatever.
So let me ask you this, and I mean, I'll especially ask Manya and Shesh.
Oh, that one ex-mod of yours that stalks me around and just anywhere.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a normal mod. All of a sudden, they just have a hate boner for you, and I have no idea why. But let me ask you guys.
Because they lost their mod wrench, and they lost their mod wrench when.
Well, hey, guess what? So did everybody else. I only give a handful
Everybody,
out.
yeah.
I lost my
For some
mod
reason
wrench.
they-
I took away Manya's. You know what she
about
said?
it.
She said, "Screw you! I'm gonna like kill you in your sleep," and moved on. I mean, what happened?
Yeah, took away mine too.
Well, and in that situation, like the reason that they're latching on to me is because me and you discussed it on air. I was like, no, everybody needs to lose their wrench because we have no idea who this person is. So just take away all of them. It doesn't matter how long, it doesn't matter who they are, how long you've known them. Take all of the wrenches on, and then we can re-add them slowly as we go. And that person took offense to that as the individual because they thought I was talking about them in particular.
But let me ask you this, without
I
mentioning.
don't know why people think it's about them all the time. Some people.
Oh, they're
just like,
still butthurt about it to the
Still
point where
butthurt.
like they everywhere I go, if they're there, they're just haranguing me the
oh
entire
my
time.
goodness.
So let me ask you guys this
Wow.
though, because there's
Like,
been a
you're
few times this has
so
happened.
Oh.
We'll find somebody that's spewing some nonsense, right? And we're like, okay, this is kind of entertaining because they're just spewing nonsense. And Cheshire and Manya will generally do the adult thing and say, hey, do you want to have a conversation? Come on, and we'll talk to you about this, right?
My goodness.
Oh my God, Rez Instance, $100 Australian.
Holy shit, Rez.
Because I feel like it. Thank you, Rez. Rez.
Damn.
Oh, wow,
On a Rum and
Rez.
Coke night too. This isn't even like a science or this is like
Cheers.
cheers. All right, raise your glass to Rez. Holy cow.
Kumbaya!
Kumbaya.
Bye.
Smug.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Rez, did you even get the link to join? All right, Rez is our superhero for the next like week.
Yeah.
By the way, and I do appreciate it, Rez, because
It's
I'm telling you, it's been rough all around. Not going to front, but I appreciate my
Yeah.
supporters, and Manya's been a huge supporter of the channel. I love you, Manya.
Love you too.
That 50 cents in New Zealand is yeah.
Yeah. And I'll repeat it. You have my permission to do anything you want.
Ooh.
All right, guys. Good night. We're going off
I'm
air.
okay, right?
Yes. Oh, can you shut this
I-
down?
Wait. By the way, the last time a girl told me that, I ended up having a daughter. So, anyways, somebody's gonna clip that out. Look at Steve. He's not a perv.
Yeah, so it is.
Thank you,
Wow,
Rez. That
just
was very sweet of you, man. And I won't forget that. Thank you.
Pride. Okay.
Shit.
Thursday night.
You know what? Have more drinks on him. Just drink to Rez.
That's right.
Um,
Oh my God, I'm gonna get sloshed. So anyway, so why is it that you've asked them? You've asked people before. Hey, come in a conversation. I'll talk to you. You'll talk to them like one-on-one or in a group, and you have a nice, pleasant conversation about why they think the way they do. And not one of them so far, I think, has taken you up on that.
No, the thing is that that individual we're talking about, they were butthurt that we took a public video on YouTube and we discussed something about it and we enjoyed it. That's what they were butthurt about. I don't know. And then they were butthurt that we found their video somehow. They were butthurt about that too. I'm like, you're on YouTube. What are you expecting? Like,
dude, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can find any video you want. And by the way, I guess they were legit watching at the time. Would they know you're going to be doing that video, or was that coincidental?
No, they according to them, they said that they opened YouTube and in their tabs they saw their face on our video, which is bullshit because
What?
that's not how YouTube works.
That's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
So that's what they said. Now they might have been unclear, or they might have been like clicking through, and then they happened to click over to our video while we were doing that, and then decided to say something. But the way they described it doesn't really match up. But I'm willing to be corrected or with some clarification because that makes absolutely no sense.
None whatsoever. But that's okay. Well, again, why didn't she have a conversation with you? Again, I was listening to some of the stuff she was charging me with and talking about me. I'm like, I don't even know who the hell this person is or why she's saying what she's saying. I just don't know.
so the thing is that what they said was, oh, you didn't. Hey, Mikey!
Mikey.
Forever.
Mikey.
Well, I better go.
Yeah, whatever. Bye, guys. Mikey's here. Fun's over.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's
there's
it.
another super
You
chat.
bring in the guy from Chicago and everything goes to hell. You know how it works. And you're
I have
muted.
to grab my tea real quick.
Start
though.
over.
Yeah. Let me read the super chat real quick.
ruins
So,
everything.
Chicagians. Helios, $5.75 at $10. The first thing first, holy FK Res. I'm not going to try to say the word here. I want to keep it monetized for a while. Yeah,
so-
it's weird. YouTube is really cracking down on cursing. Next thing, the original thing I was typing, the people that got super offended and became super defensive were probably bad faith actors in some way, shape, or form. And probably in some of them, again, I usually think I'm a pretty decent character person, judge a character for my mods. And one of the mods I was going after Chess was a mod for a very long time. And it was really quite surprising. I've never seen anything like that when they got so butthurt merely because they lost a mod, because I took away everybody's mods and I just started giving a few of them back. I'm gone down to maybe 10, 12 mods because I didn't want to see a blue. I mean, everybody on my live chat, I love them all. And I'd love to give them all mods, like the other channel is mostly mods because that means they're vetted to come in. But, I don't want to see mods on this particular channel. God's Otter to $2. Desert, Santa, Buzzard, Tumbleweed, and Moonshine. He's drunk.
Yeah, we agree with you, God's auditor.
Absolutely. Okay, so where did Mikey go? Mikey, unmute yourself, dude.
Well, he's frozen too.
Not frozen.
Hey, Mikey, nothing.
There we go.
Hey, Mikey, I think you liked it.
Hi, Mikey.
Mikey.
What you doing, Mikey? You making dinner?
I am making dinner. I'm making fish and chips
For you or your new girl?
Ooh, nice.
for my imaginary girlfriend.
Oh my God! You cook, you clean, you give great love in. You are like the perfect.
Oh
perfect,
wow.
I don't know, man boy. I don't know, boy toy, whatever
Shit,
that
I
you want
want
to
some
call
of that.
That,
I could teach you, but I'd have to.
I know. One of these days, I will send senpai. I will learn from the master one day.
I'm down for some fish lips.
wow.
So basically,
looks nice.
you like fish sticks, right?
Ooh.
You're really big into
No,
fish sticks.
No, we're not making fish sticks. We're doing fillets. We're gonna do a little bit of a battering.
You're not a gay fish.
Keep it.
Little Red, $2
We don't
because
judge.
I'm your next girlfriend, or maybe I'm Sweet Heathen's next. Yeah, well, Little Red was my backup plan. If things didn't work out with Sweet Heathen, I always knew I had Little Red. I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. You got to plan ahead, right? Or you know what? Like she said, she could be
Red.
Sweet Heathen's thing. Whatever.
Red, don't spoil Steve. You're spoiling Steve. You're giving him too many options. Don't.
It's like a smorgasbord. I like variety, man.
Nah, Little Red can be Steve's next
You know, and
anytime.
I love this because it triggers so many people when I banter like this with people I love and I care about because they're
my
not people I like and I don't banter with them at all because I can't stand them. It's like
this fucking individual who made those 9 videos kept repeating that lie. That was already debunked. That happened between me and Steve. And I was actually trolling, and everybody out there felt so hard on it, and it kind of brings out their real motive, isn't it? Their real motive is not the concern for me. It's their real motive is what they feel about the situation and how they project it onto other women. Yeah, I feel that men should not talk like that. So how dare you have a good banter with a guy? I'm like, seriously, fuck.
Oh, did you see the comment that I pinned? They left a comment. It's the one I didn't really read all of the comments. I'm not gonna lie. I skimmed through most of it, but I did not read all 50 comments. I'm sure I will one day, probably. Eventually.
Out of all the people that get sexualized the most is probably Mikey. Mikey, making sure that
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Because it's hard. It's hard to keep. It's really hard not to keep comments to you, man.
Mikey Hood sexual and
Right, by the way, he did like a what is it, the risky business thing? He just kind of slid over. Yes.
I'm wearing pants though.
How do we believe you?
The one comment.
Trust but verify.
The one comment that caught my attention that I pinned was, I said, I don't understand how you respect and let someone act like that around you, but you are Canadian. That baffles me so much that I pinned it.
That isn't a bizarre comment.
I think what they were doing was that after the stream finished, they were watching it and they started commenting at every point where they thought that they would have commented if they were in the live chat.
Right, but they have no timestamp and they just commented individually rather than in a thread. So it's really bizarre.
Yeah. Well, because we were in the live stream, so we could figure out what they're talking about. But anyone else, they were like, "What the heck is going on?"
But I think, Manya, you hit the nail on the head, though. And I really hate to say this, but I've always been straight up with you. They don't give a flying F about you. They don't. I mean, it's like
nor about Chesh, nor any women who are around you. They don't give a fuck about that. All they care about is how they feel. Oh, a man shouldn't talk like that. Bitch, you wish a man talked to you.
Wow. Damn. Manya going for blood. Holy shit.
You can't deport somebody who's from that country. That's not what deporting means. That's not the right word.
What?
Somebody said they wish they could deport me, but like from my own country. Like you can't deport somebody from their own. You could like remove them from the country, like kick them out of the country, but not deport. Like that's just the wrong word.
Yeah, because I mean, if like for example, if you're in California, they would deport you back to your country.
You could be exiled.
Right. Yeah,
exile the goblin queen.
That would be that would be a better term. Yeah, that's just straight up the wrong word. Get a dictionary.
Somebody was playing around with the source and couldn't figure it out. They're like, this is close enough.
Yeah, this little one says they care zero about anyone who they care zero about anyone just who they can use as an excuse to hate Steve. Yeah, whatever, man. I'm used to it.
Manya was so mad when that lady came into the live chat. Manya was pissed. She went off. It was glorious. It was absolutely glorious.
Manya's savage, man. Just savage. And she used to, let me tell you her phases. She used to be really savage when she was like a religious nutter. No offense, but then she became mellow and became like, just chill, and then all of a sudden she got involved back into stuff and came to us and all this other stuff. Now Savage.
Savage again.
Savage.
Sweet freedom.
Is it freedom? Yeah. Now you can hate
But
people. You don't need God for it. There you go.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
It's so funny
Somebody
that
in the
they
chat-
went on. They were like, "Oh, you had an all girls chat, but you couldn't invite a girl to defend herself." I'm like, asshole is an asshole, irrespective of gender. So your gender doesn't matter if you're being an asshole. So like, why would we give you the courtesy? You didn't give Steve the courtesy when you
I
went
didn't know
on
who that person
rant.
was. They're just going off
Yeah.
on some shit, and I'm like,
You
I don't know
didn't
what they're talking about. I never did any of this. They're like, she's like, well, you know how Steve treats women. I'm like, well, I actually treat them pretty goddamn good. I have a really good rapport with women that I care about, and men I care about. Mikey, I care about. I would go out on a beer date with him. He's not going to get any, but we'll chill and have some beer and stuff like that. I would be very nice and civil to him, as all the lovely ladies and men hit on him, and I just sit there and drink alone and cry my beer. But I'll be used to that. Look at this man. He's like, what is he actually? He thinks he's like Chef Gordon Ramsay or something.
Yeah, he's from the Food Network now.
Yeah, you're gonna get your own show on the Food
Indian
Network.
sandwich.
Make a vegan version.
You know the problem? You know the problem with this fucking potato? It's fucking raw!
Oh my God, he does that good. Dude, you're missing out, man. You should have done that from the very beginning. You should have started the first time you ever came around. You should have had that British accent. We would have never known.
That would have been hysterical.
That would have been
Bloody
hilarious.
hell.
Yeah, bloody hell.
I can't do a British accent.
Bloody fucking. Well, the best part is I only have like 130 subs, so I can still rebrand.
But there you
Not too
go.
late.
Hmm.
Nice.
Vegan, can you do a British accent?
No.
Brandon, can you?
No, I got
No.
English and bad English and maybe some Spanglish.
No.
Oh, the British accent is very easy, Mike. Come on.
That's bad.
I have a speech impediment as it is.
I hadn't noticed.
Really? Nah, man.
That's what I love about Brandon. See, Brandon.
Oh yeah, you were supposed to be taking a nap.
People, I love about Brandon is because obviously, Brandon does have, like CP and stuff, but he's smart as a whip, and people underestimate the shit out of him, and it's hilarious because they think he's doesn't, because he has a hard time with certain time with the words, but he's right on top of stuff, man. I think it's hilarious.
I try to be.
But you've seen him murder with words too a few times.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Chester, I got to meet one of my friends that had CP the other day.
Yeah, she's great.
I told you, I love her. I mean, she's one of the coolest people in the world.
It's funny, like people who say like Steve is a chauvinist. Like how many female friends Steve has. I know Shesh plays a major part in that. But
Yeah, I like all these. I love when people say, "Well, all these women came forward." I'm like, "For what?" I mean, I haven't talked. I haven't heard anything. It's like, really?
Steve gets along better with women than I do.
I do. I get a lot better with women than I do men. I feel more. I'm much,
Same.
Actually, to be fair, Steve gets along better with everybody than I do.
Yeah. How do you have any friends?
Remember how like people were like, "Oh, Kyle's the charismatic one that gets everybody to come on." After working with Steve, it really wasn't. Steve is the one that does almost all of the background work of talking to everybody and schmoozing and like nice.
She's
I'm
not
just
even.
an
By the way,
actor.
she's not kidding on this. This is.
I'm not kidding. This literally happened today.
Am I not the goddamn peacemaker? Am I not the one who has to weigh all the different types of things? Okay, how do we approach this person? What do we do with this? Kyle wasn't good at any of that shit. That's why he's totally screwed up the interview with Alex Jones's ex-wife. I mean, he screwed that up royally because he didn't know how to approach that one, and he wouldn't let.
Right.
I was like, I knew I should have taken that one over.
And we both do it. We both approach people, and we just do it in different wavelengths. Steve just currently has way more connections than I do right now, so it's way better for him to be doing it.
And people think I'm so mean. I'm like, that's just on Twitter. It's Twitter, Steve.
And it's only if you bring up certain topics, You're talking about rocks.
I don't know. I don't even think it's the topic. I think it's the stupid.
Well, that
It's the stupidity, the incompetence, and the ineptitude.
All rolled into one, right? There should be a word just for
Oh
that.
my god. This individual is still like replying to my comments to their video.
Oh, really? That nutter, the crazy.
Oh
Why
god.
can't they just go for Chesh? It's like, look, Chesh and Rez and AT2 Jared, they love
oh
this
my
stuff.
goodness.
They want people to they can have all these people. Let them have them. Why do they go after me? I don't understand.
I'm gonna post something in the chat for everybody to watch, like the external chat. Open this in another tab and watch it. I promise you will not regret it.
Yeah. It's and they
Oh,
were
it's
like,
not that. It's something completely unrelated. It's just for the fun. This is just for the funsies. I'll put it in the internal chat too, so you guys can see it. Watch this shit. This is amazing.
Why do I get the feeling?
Yeah, it's one of the,
Right?
oh,
what am I looking
Everybody
at
was
here?
kung fu fighting.
What am I looking at? Okay, there you go. Reddit. This is the.
oh, this is awesome.
This is not gonna get me demonetized, is it?
I don't think so.
Nah.
Oh my god, do people have way too much time on their hands?
Well, yeah, everybody's in quarantine. I don't know what you were expecting.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
That
It's
is
a trap.
This is cute.
This is hysterical.
People are so creative when they have nothing else to do with their lives, right?
Right?
This is like a Nate talent. Wow.
There is good.
This is cool. This is so cool. Wow.
Oh,
Like
look who's
that.
coming in. Look who's coming in. Look at this.
Who's that?
Hi, Mr. Bull.
Wow.
Hi.
Oh.
The God has
Bull.
arrived. God
God.
has shown up finally.
Hashtag what about Bo?
God is you.
Bull, how are you today?
I'm okay. I'm doing all right.
Praise Bull.
All hail the Bull.
Oh,
OPT
yeah.
Laura showed up too, but he's in live chat.
Where are they?
I might as well send him the link in case
Where
he's
are
bored and
they?
wants to come in. OPT.
Why is the pangolin endangered? Could we not? They're amazing.
I love
And
pangolins. They're so cute.
They really are.
Like, I don't care if the pandas go, but pangolins though?
Come on. Pandas are mean.
badass.
Yeah, pangolins.
No. Not them.
Pandas are mean. I like pangolins.
Yep. They are so cute.
All this shit going on YouTube. I'm surprised y'all haven't beat each other up literally.
Who
You
says
know,
we
you'd be
haven't?
surprised.
Yeah.
Right?
We argue amongst each other more than we do with people on Twitter.
The only thing that has saved Steve from me is international borders.
She is.
That might not last long.
Yes, Cheshire argues by yelling and screaming and basically
Sometimes.
balling up your fist and wanting to punch things.
I
But you know
will
what?
berate you and bully you until you
but
do what I tell you to
But
do.
you know what, Chesh? I still feel
Yes.
very safe being in the same room with you.
Aw.
Oh.
More than I do some other people.
Hold on, I got something that's the size of Chesh's fist. It's
bet you
these
do.
little bitty rainbow sprinkles that are the little balls.
Why are you gonna put those on fish
That's
sticks?
about the size.
What kind of cook are you?
I'm putting it on the fish and chips. Don't judge me.
What?
Nah, no judgment.
Sprinkles?
What?
Actually, if we find a really good way to cook pangolins, you'd be really surprised at how many pangolins there suddenly are when people start creating pangolin farms.
Oh wow.
This dude
And
sprinkles
pangolins
on
are the
fish.
awesome little. And pangolins are the awesome little anteater with like the dragon scales.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
They're
their
Their little
scales.
hands up.
Their scales have
Magical powers to heal.
medicinal purposes that can
Sure.
ensure many sons. in
Sure.
some
Does
cultures.
it
And
cure the
give you-
game?
And give you
It's like
coronavirus.
chicken too.
Oh my god, I ran out of ginger ale. Well, I didn't run out of it. I just
They
straight.
taste
That's almost straight
like chicken
whiskey.
too. Pangolins, they taste like chicken.
Everything tastes like chicken.
Except chicken. What the fuck?
God, this hamster knows kung fu.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. It is like the 1990s, right?
Oh, yes.
So yeah, everybody was kung fu fighting.
Come on. right, I sent it in the chat. You guys, click that link and look at this hamster.
You know, I watched a video that I've never seen before. It actually showed the original footage for the animation for what was that video game with the fighting the like
Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat, yeah. The original actors
Oh my god.
that actually what did it. It wasn't even a stop. Like it was like back in the '80s. So it wasn't even stop motion. It wasn't like capture motion cap.
Holy shit.
But they had filmed it. And I didn't know that. I had no idea that's how they did that. That was
It's
good.
super cool.
Super cool.
Ooh, Rez is in here.
Hi, Rez.
Do you think? Sean says elf tastes like chicken. Do you think that's true? Do you think reindeer tastes like chicken? Or unicorn tastes like chicken? I don't know. If
That's why they're extinct.
Unicorn?
Maybe that's why they. That's why you don't see any unicorns or reindeer because, they went extinct. People were hunting them to death.
Mm-hmm.
Works for me. Hi, Rez.
That makes sense.
Hello.
Rez, you were very sweet today. I'm curious as to. You okay? You're not dying?
Testing YouTube's response.
Kawasa testing. Those are. Hey, by the way, those are nice eyes, Kawasa. Very nice eyes.
Eyes.
They're looking. Those are eyes.
It's the
looking at you.
Hypnotoad.
Eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All hail the
Yes.
Hypnotoad.
Oh, Danger Man has some good advice.
Oh, there is? That's awesome.
Yeah, Danger
I'll have
Man.
to get that
Good
extension.
advice,
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I will definitely do that. Thank you very much. He's smart. Danger
There's
Man
a gif
smart.
There's a picture of Trump mixed with Eddie Murphy, and it says, "Can't have a second wave if you don't stop the first."
Ooh, burn.
Oh.
Ouch.
So what do you got for us, Rez? You get to pick a topic. What do you want? Anything you want.
Yep. Go for it.
Hey,
Don't ask me that question.
hey, I Shesh, I'm gonna send you something. Just have a look at it. This just happened an hour ago. Apparently they're obsessed with me for some reason.
Is this the person that you've been getting in a fight with on Twitter? I bookmarked that. I have that whole thing saved.
No. It's the individual we have been talking about here.
Oh,
And-
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Oh.
It's like they're like obsessed with me for some reason. I don't know. Yeah.
Bitch, please.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
You haven't seen Obsessed. Come on. You're amateur league.
Now they are.
Yeah.
Now they are. I'm just
Give it a few
I'm
years.
I'm at level -1 right
Yeah.
now. I need 5,000 bitch points for that.
Yeah, just check back with Steve in like 5 years.
Right? You ain't got nothing. I got years of way ahead of you on this.
Right?
Way ahead of you.
Oh
Those
god.
people are fucking obsessed. Talk
There we
about
go.
obsessed.
Chesh, it's on
Stupid
Twitter.
name.
Have a look. It's so funny.
Hang on. Go ahead. What, Dave?
Stupid great debate community name. That's really what they're pissed about.
I know.
Honestly, people, you want to know what they're pissed about? They're pissed because Steve started a group on G+. They didn't like the way he ran it, so they wanted to take off the name.
Bowing out.
Yeah, you know why they didn't like it? But here's the thing. Do you know why they didn't like the way I ran it? Because my channel was doing wells and theirs weren't at the time. And all they did was they were just hating on people. And I'm like, that's not what I'm doing on my channel.
So this is gonna sound mean of me, and I'm gonna apologize ahead of time. But this comment towards Manya killed me inside a little bit, and I think it's hilarious.
Oh no.
So, all right, can I read the comment, Manya? Do you care?
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The comment says news towards the person that we're referring to. If you want to know really what we're talking about in regards to this person, go and watch the most recent That Time of the Month and watch the last 30 miners.
it's really good. Seriously, I'll put it in the video description.
It is really good. So, newsflash: not everyone has ugly eyelashes like Manya. Hers are naturally pretty. Okay, referring to the woman. This is gonna sound mean of me, but I got sent this video a couple of times by people, and I can see their face popping up on the because they didn't have any thumbnails or anything. It was just the automatic whatever that YouTube put in. And the first time I saw it, before I even watched it, somebody sent it to me and said, "Hey, somebody's talking shit about you and Red's rhetoric." And I saw the picture and I just said, "Wow, it's not very often that somebody shit talks Red who's uglier than he is." Like this person is saying Manya's eyelashes look fake. Meanwhile, every comment that I have seen about this woman is asking if she's on meth. Like I don't know what planet.
Wait, Manya's
we are
eyelashes
on
are fake?
anymore.
Is that what she said?
Oh my god.
Manya, your eyebrows are on fleek, right?
And that is maybe the meanest thing that I say about that person, and that is just my opinion, having seen Red's Rhetoric's face.
Yeah.
Just Dr. Zaya said Steve made $8.76 in Google AdSense out the GDC in 2016. Actually, you know what? You're not far off. I made, and I'm not even shitting you, $30. They wanted to split up $30. Like I don't know, like what? How many different ways, Dave? I don't know, like dozen, whatever the hell it was. $30 is what I made.
I honestly think you should just send 5 cents to everybody. Send a $30 super chat to their ringleader and tell them to fuck off.
Divvy it up, yeah.
Here, divvy it up amongst yourselves. Here's
Bizarre as hell.
$30. Leave me alone.
$30, yeah. Whatever. Okay.
I have a question
nobody
about
knows.
YouTube
No one
memberships.
knows.
Yeah, what you need to know.
I was just wondering if you're allowed to talk about what kind of a cut they take.
It's the same as a super chat.
30%.
Yeah. That's why Patreon is better. I mean, if people want to become a member and they do the $2, $5, $10, that's great. But Patreon is still a little bit better. Yeah. But you know what? Like I said, I'm just happy that people do. I mean, I'm so amazed that people are entertained by this and they love Caffeine Corner.
I will pay them $30 a month in perpetuity if they all fuck off.
I think that's called extortion, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? I'll take it.
But then but then who would talk about me and feed my narcissism?
Hey. Do you know why extortion is illegal?
Why?
It works.
Yeah.
Would I be extorting them? Would I be bribing them, extorting them, or would they be extorting me?
Dunno.
Hard to say.
I think it's more protection money. Like, here's $30, so I'm going to destroy you. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
How much of a cut does Patreon take?
20%, I think. It's 10 and 10.
I think so. I can double check though. I'll look. Give me a sec.
Shit.
Because I just became a member for Cheshire's channel, and I was immediately felt maybe Patreon would have been better.
Yeah, most people do like a small amount on the membership, so they get the green, and then they put the bigger amount on the Patreon. They do both. But I mean, it's like I said, it's whatever.
If you go to Patreon, you don't get to see my super secret members only video on YouTube.
Like I said, it's very kind of people that have been supportive of our channels, and they like the content, and they're entertained by it, and you know, it's nice, you know. And we get to drink, and people like make fun of us. Although I will tell you this, it wasn't a caffeine corner we did the other day.
Patreon only takes 5%.
Well, I think it's 10 total. It's 10. It's 10 total. That's what it is. It's 5 up front.
Founders pricing of 5% platforming fee, and then there's a processing fee.
Yeah, yes, 5 up front. Just total 10%. I think it is.
Yeah, and the processing fee is whenever you remove money from Patreon.
Yeah. So, but here's the show that we did the other day. I gotta tell you, I was actually belly laughing. That was freaking funny.
Oh, the Exhibit A stuff?
That was my legit. People who know me know that those are my legit laughs. Because I watched it over again, and I was just sitting here and I was laughing. I was physically laughing. It was funny.
I was at work. I was trying not to laugh out loud, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen."
I got members on my channel now, and I put up the emojis, and because I do an art, Steve has like the basic bitch emojis. I've got a yelling goblin, you get a goblin beside your name, you get an upside down angry paper bag that is basically Red's rhetoric being grumpy, and the smug and Puck.
Oh,
There's a
fuck,
fuck emoji.
Oh,
yes.
emoji.
So Little Red, what you do is
Yes.
if you want green, go hit the join button, and that'll go through the thing. Like $5 a month that it'll give you green or whatever the hell it is. I think I'd set up for 2 or something.
I saw the case.
I just picked the ones that were the most popular.
Yeah, I love the goblin one. I just love it. Yeah, and Puck. And Puck.
Yeah.
Little Red just upped her pledge a little bit. Thank you, Little Red.
Oh, thanks, Red. Yes.
And
She's
by the
not
way, I
green.
get messages and I always thank people because, unlike some
Why
people,
isn't she green?
I don't sit there and just go, "I'm going to make up stuff and
She's on
send me
Patreon.
for PayPal. Send me for PayPal."
Yeah, it's got to be if you want to be green on
YouTube.
YouTube, you have to be a member on YouTube, not
Yeah.
on Patreon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't link that way.
Yeah, they don't link.
No.
Just
It'd
to
be nice if they did.
Oh, so if she put it on Patreon. Okay,
Yeah.
well change it. Yeah, change it off if you want to be green. It's either or. Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, but I still thank you. So, but just do the Patreon. You can lower that back down and put it on the green instead, or put it on the joins if you want to be green. Yeah, completely up to you.
Yeah.
It also seems like
And
emotes
thank you, Monica, for
restricted to the channel you
Thank you.
subscribe to.
Yeah, excuse me, but yeah, thank you for doing it that way better, Manya.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a little confused, like which was
I
the
know
best platform.
it sucks.
So I like this or this. It's so confusing. Oh my god. So yeah. So I'm on basic here on YouTube, and then I've upped my pledges on Patreon.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's better to manage that way.
I like the green because it looks like a lot of support, even though it's probably 2 people that just talk a lot.
Hey Steve, maybe you should go for all members chat.
Yeah.
Very lucrative,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Well, here's the thing. I made a promise that I
It'll
can't.
be a
so-
ghost town.
The only time we should ever do that is on April Fools.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
But it shouldn't stay that way. It should just start that way and then turn it off after like 5 minutes, because that's gonna be
Yeah.
dumb.
Or like
but that will be good for trolls. 5 minutes, and they will be like buzzing all over the, all over the social
I
media.
don't even understand that. What content creator in their right mind?
You weren't gonna do that.
Why would anybody want to? I don't understand this. To me, it's unimaginable to want to have a limited chat to just your members. I mean,
I think that
I
it's
don't know.
beneficial it's beneficial if you're trying to do something specific with your community, or if you're
Special
trying
event,
to
maybe?
if you're trying to do something special that's a reward. But at that point, you should make it a members only stream as a whole,
Yeah.
not just the chat. In my opinion,
I don't even like
but-
giving perks. I mean,
Yeah.
my perk levels was basically I just get back to you faster. If you're one of my higher tiers, you basically can wake me up in the middle of the night and I look like turning over, going what? Because Jess does that all the time. Not even fronting. I hear that noise. I'm like, and I look over and like.
But he says that like he doesn't do the same thing to me.
I do. But time zones. You're like 3 hours ahead, so it's like it's afternoon for you.
Oh yeah, he sends me a message at like 11 a.m. and I'm like, what?
I've gotten
Steven, what do you want?
I've got messages at 3 in the morning from.
Well, yeah, but
Steve,
you're awake because I see you looking.
Yeah.
I see a little image come up. I'm like, oh, he's awake. You can't hide from me.
You can never hide from
And by the way,
Confirmed. Steve stalks pool.
it's the producer has to have 24-hour access.
I'm
You
being
ha-
stalked by Steve McRae. I'm uncomfortable now.
have I talked about
He's
your
looking
boobs?
at you.
'Cause I don't think I have.
He's looking towards the camera.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Bool. Looking at you. Can you tell? I'm just, you feel it?
Okay.
You feel it?
Not particularly.
Hey, we have a special guest in the live chat. We have Dr. John Kroon, astrophysicist, cosmologist, astrophotographer extraordinaire. Hi, buddy.
Woohoo!
Get some
Yes.
sexy nerd talk.
Hi, Kroon. By the way, he will be on when he gets a chance to
Nice.
just show his lovely photos, and they are cool. Not gonna front. Cool shit. I don't know if he wants to come in, but I'll send him the link anyways. Yeah, you can come on. Yeah, okay. I just got your message. I don't check my Facebook that much. But yeah, so yeah, that's Dr. John Kroon. He's smart.
Very cool.
He know math and stuff.
He can do the
He
math.
can do the math. One of these days, he's got to come on, and I really want to go over like, I know he's going to kill me. I really want to go over like Einstein's field equations or like the general relativity equation or the Schwarzschild's, time-independent formula, something along those lines where you can break it down to the average person. Like, I mean, how do you explain Ricci curve to somebody? Right? I mean, I barely understand what a manifold is. I need him to come in and go, hey, look, stupid people, this is what it is. Let me explain to you this stuff.
Give it to me in the baby words.
Yeah.
Though.
Speak slowly to
Give
me.
it to me like I'm 5.
It's like, yeah, it's like when I talk to philosophy and I see people's eyes glaze over.
We can slowly move our way up.
I have people tell me that, vegan. They're like, Steve, okay, just pretend I'm 3 years old, how to explain this really deep philosophical concept that took me like 2 years to finally figure out. Okay, I'll get right on that.
Right. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh my God, Icarus! Somebody said, "Hey, look." Icarus said, "He knows math, so he knows 0.99 equals 1." Yes, he's aware of this. However, there's a guy on Twitter where he's actually arguing this, and I hope the intrigued feline is paying attention because she was witnessing this. But he said, "Well, yeah, that's mathematically correct, but it's not logically correct." And people just paused. We're like,
Wait. What?
And he was trying to defend it, and we're like, I don't know what that means. It's how can it be mathematically correct but not quote logically correct when it's a mathematical equality? You know, and he's just trying. He's trying to like.
That literally makes no sense.
Yeah.
That is an oxymoron.
Yeah, I don't get it. It was weird.
Goodness.
Okay, Jeff says, please get Dr. John, and I need some smart after exposing myself to the bait tag team of Nathan Thompson and G-Man. Well, if you have any brain cells left after that, Jeff, sure, we'll get the smart guy to come in. I really do like being the dumbest person in the room. I don't mind. Actually, I'm very comfortable with that. So.
Well, you're definitely not the dumbest one.
Oh no, that's why I invited you. But
that's why you have me here.
No, I
I love you. Stop it.
No.
I would never mean that. I love her.
Yeah. Everybody loves me.
We all know that I could have said Mikey, but he would have got pissed off and he doesn't take a trip. Yeah, that's what he said, Kawasi. He's like, it's only correct in math. I'm like, what? Okay.
Only correct in math. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, you know what's funny? There's actually something to say. Is math a subset of logic, or is logic a subset of math? There's actually arguments to be had on this, believe it or not. Now, I particularly have always thought logic is a subset of mathematics, but I got to tell you, Intrigue Feline and some other people make a good case for the opposite. So
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I need to hear. I would need to hear the argument.
Oh,
for both
it's smart people talking. You wouldn't.
Yeah,
it's smart people talking.
So murdered by
you were Coast Guard.
Why I'm going to need to hear more.
Yeah. This is why you went Coast Guard.
Ask you why a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
God damn it, Mikey! Now I'm hungry.
Murdered by words. So because the CDC said it, you're just going to blindly listen to them without doing your own research?
Yeah, pretty
Response. Yes, 100%. Yes. What fucking research am I gonna do that is going to in any way be more valid or valuable than research from a government agency that spends $6.5 billion a year on studying diseases? Do you honestly think your Google skills are worth $6.5 billion a year of scientific research by scientists specializing in that field? You listen to the CDC when they say how to handle a pandemic. Period. I can't anymore with you. Put a fucking mask on. It's literally easier for you to put a mask on than to have this argument. That's how easy it is. It's the easiest thing in the world. Stop being a petulant child and do the easiest thing in the world to help people not die. And please don't respond. I don't need to hear another reason for you to not do such a simple thing. I don't have time or energy to deal with this breathing Dunning-Kruger graph.
Was that Science Sweet Heathen?
That is fabulous.
Science Sweet Heathen.
I almost spilled my vanilla Coke while listening to that.
I sent you another link. Just check it out on Twitter.
That's the way I feel, by the way. That person has basically expressed my views on it as well.
This is relevant.
Oh God, that's so funny. So yeah, if you're ever arguing with anybody about like the CDC, there's your answer right there.
So, as an essential worker, let me just say.
Ooh, that's harsh. Dude.
Well, by the way, just so you know, vegan.
I love that.
Hold up, what's Mikey saying?
As an essential worker, when people are deliberately obstinate, all I can say is thanks, because I can't see the rest of the other half of my family now because y'all don't know how to follow instructions. So I haven't met my girlfriend's mom. I met her brother before all this happened, and I have to wait until all this shit calms down to go meet them because you guys don't know how to fucking follow instructions.
Yeah, well, I should have been in Boston this month, so I feel your pain, bro. I feel it.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go have fish and chips with my baby.
Okay.
And
hello, hi for us.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Hi, Dr. John Cruz in the house.
Tickets to go see.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
John.
First of all,
okay, hold on. We got Vegan Atheist Coral. Nice to meet you. Manya Sharma. Nice to meet you. Cheshire Vic. Res Instance. Brandon Morell. Let's see. David Fulton. A bunch of Mighty Mouse. Something. Hello, everybody. It's John Kroon. How are you doing tonight?
What's up, buddy?
Hello.
By the way, you've been a busy boy lately, dude. Busy boy.
John Cool.
Just chilling.
You know how many stars have burned out since last time I've talked to you? Oh, he's got a drinks.
What kind of beer is that?
This is the absolutely delicious Unraveled IPA by Founders.
Nice. IPA. 11%.
Interesting.
Homeboy, don't mess
I've
around.
reviewed it on beeradvocate.com. Check me out.
So how many stars have burned out since last time you've been on with us? And who's doxing people? Stop doxing people.
Doxing.
Who's doxing?
Stop it.
It's Manya! It's Manya!
And the
Manya,
whole
quit
universe
doxing people.
or just in our
You
galaxy?
guys caught me doxing someone.
God damn it.
I have to go. Bye-bye. Bye.
So tell us about your trip. I know you did some picture stuffy.
Yeah, so I went to West Virginia. I was on 2 different mountains with 2 different groups. I got 3 different pictures and had 1,000,000% fun.
Oh.
That's my math. Check it twice.
So it's kind of like measuring. You just check it. You just do the math twice and then.
Shit.
Like when you're building something, it's what do you call it? Measure 3 times, check twice, cut once.
Yeah, measure 3, check twice, cut once. There you go. That works.
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard that one.
I got pictures of the Milky Way. Well, a picture. I got a picture of the Splendid Galaxy. It's literally called the Splendid Galaxy. It's awesome. Or Splendid, if you will. And the Pinwheel Galaxy, M101. And I slept under the stars and then under a overhang because it started raining about 4 or 5 a.m. After the clouds rolled. And I had a great time. Just got back a couple days ago. I made some seafood pasta today, some scoglio from scratch, homemade pasta sauce, and grabbed the shrimp, clams, and mussels. Now I'm having a beer with you fine folks.
Damn, you're living the high life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Trip and a half.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Right? Sounds good.
We do need to have a math hangout though. I need to learn. I want to be able to understand like GR's formula, like Einstein's formula for field. I don't. I
heard you when I was getting the snowball thing out of my closet. And or storage, or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, the snowball.
Yeah, I
heard
love
Steve,
that stuff.
I heard you talking about how you want to get me to do a show with you about like GR and SR.
Yeah.
I would totally do it.
Because I mean,
you don't.
For example, I need a really good way of understanding like Ricci curvature.
Yeah, dude. There's many ways to do her. You know,
there's many ways to do her. I figured that out a long time ago.
I don't even know her.
That's what we said.
But Steve, we got to start with some SR because that's where you can really get intuitive and explanatory.
Sounds kinky.
And then we move it up to the curvy curves with the GR.
Yeah, let's do that. I can start with SR. I mean, I remember like Lorentz contraction. I mean, I know the formula for that. 1 divided by the square root.
Have you guys? That made me think of. Have you guys seen? Did you guys see the beef? The music beef between the guys who wrote Handlebars and Logan Paul?
No. Logan Paul.
No,
I don't watch Logan Paul. I keep thinking of his name like I know who that guy is. I don't have anything to do with Logan Paul.
Okay. So I just trying to remember the name of the musician. Flowbots. So Flowbots wrote a song called Handlebars, and it's just like, I can ride my bike with no handlebars, no handlebars.
Yeah, I remember that song. My daughter used to love that song.
Okay, so Logan Paul straight ripped that song off, like, and it's just like, I can ride your girl with no handlebars, right? And so he called the song No Handlebars instead. Completely ripped it off. Didn't even just rip off the chorus, ripped off the entire, like, the whole flow of the song is ripped off. Flowbots responded with what I gotta say is one of the best diss tracks I've ever heard, and I'm putting it in the chat for you guys. There you go.
Diss track. Yeah.
Check this out. It's amazing when you get a chance. They didn't take him to court. They didn't like try to sue them. They didn't blast them on social media. They just straight up made a fantastic diss track.
Nice. But I'm more interested in this kinky math. Like, what is going on?
I want to know about curves.
Who's doing it?
My calculus professor in college, one time he said, all right, guys, this is about as sexy as math gets. We're going to look at this 3D vector plane, and it's going to be osculating, which basically means kissing, he said. And then he just sort of pauses,
I love osculating,
waiting for the laughter. We chuckle a little bit, and his little tufts of hair waver in the wind.
What's his name, Einstein?
It was the cutest thing ever.
Was his name Einstein?
Steve wants to be able to mathematically say why parallel lines meet on a globe because of gravity. That's what
because
Steve
of gravity. No, I used to like to oscillate and
They do.
irritate. Those are my things to do.
They do.
Well, yeah, they do on parallel. Yeah, well, at the North Pole and South Pole, yeah.
And
But
then
they're only parallel to the equator.
a black hole, but Steve, in a black hole, all lines, parallel and askew,
Converge at the
meet to a
singularity.
point, including.
I'm sorry, did you guys say ovulating?
ovulating?
So let me ask you, because you're the smart one in the room here, for a change. So if you see, this is what bugs me about pop science, right? When I hear people say, well, the reason why you can't get out of a black hole is you can't go faster than the speed of light, which I think is BS, by the way. I say the reason why you can't get out of a black hole has nothing to do with not being able to go faster than the speed of light, because if you went faster than the speed of light, you just reach the singularity faster, because all world lines converge at the singularity past the point of event horizon. That's why you can't get out of it. There's no speed you can go where you'd get out of it, because all lines converge at the center. That's how I look at it, and people think I'm an idiot. So I'm like, okay, well, to me this makes sense. I don't know why people think I'm wrong on that.
Steve. Talk dirty to me.
Oh, sexy talk. See, I thought I was right on that. Because I hear all this pop science.
Isn't that kind of the purpose of the, like, that's what defines the event horizon, the point at which nothing can escape any further?
All the lines converge back, because all this called world timelines converge to the center, the singularity. But you hear these pop science videos.
More generally, they're geodesics all converging there.
Right, because the shortest distance between two lines in non-Euclidean space, in geodesic space, is a straight line, which is a geo.
Right.
Yeah. So what do they call it? A geodesic line. So in a world timeline that's curved like that, when I hear these videos, I go, well, you can't escape the event horizon of a black hole because nothing travels faster than the speed of light. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Stop it. Don't. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell him, Steve.
And he's the astrophysicist. You see how passionate I get?
This is Steve being mean right now.
Right.
I'm so
yeah.
This is how Steve trolls people.
By talking about real timelines.
Yep.
Steve, I was actually in a comment section argument with some guy who was trying to say some wacky science, and I was setting them straight. And then I remembered the old saying, if you're and this doesn't apply to Steve's channel though, any of them. If you argue with someone for more than 5 minutes, you've both lost. So I bowed out. I was like, look, man, I'm gonna say one more thing, I'm gone.
I'm not even fronting. John here, he I'm gonna front him. I'm gonna out him here. He would message me, and he'd be like, "These 5G Corona people, I'm going to kill them." He's like, these are the dumbest people on the world. This is the new flat Earth stuff. I'm like, dude, why are you wasting your time with these people? He's like, I gotta help them. I can fix them. I'm like, no, you can't.
No.
Well,
he
Steve,
didn't say that, but
there are two different schools of thought on this, and I'd like to share this because I get this a lot. The idea is, and there's like 2 or 3 different philosophical principles. The first is you have an obligation if you know something. Like, no one's perfect, no one's smarter at everything than everyone else, but there are a lot of people who don't know some things that they really should know. So if you do know lucidly, rationally, and coherently that someone is completely wrong, and those misconceptions and falsehoods that they accept can possibly physically harm someone, cause death or sickness in other people, you have a moral and ethical obligation to attempt to set them straight.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. I do agree with you. However, how much can you?
You could no, but here's the thing. No, I'm not saying argue ad nauseum, ad infinitum until it's pointless. I'm saying you try once or twice, and then you're done.
Yeah.
You've done everything you can do. And the second idea is there are certain people who just don't know. They're on the fence, you know. That those people were my audience when I argued flat Earth on that YouTube channel with y'all. Not the people, not the flat earther I was debating live, but the people who, and not even the people who are listening that already understood that the Earth is a freaking spheroid. Like, why are we even talking about that in 2020? The people that were like that were falling victim through their own ignorance to YouTube.
That's how I feel
videos.
about talking about incels.
Yeah, well,
there you go.
I think it's something separate too, because you never know where people are in their journey. So when I have conversations with people, it's because I don't know where they are, and maybe my conversation right now isn't going to affect them, but maybe the next one will, and because it starts off as a seed, and the more information and that maybe then you could be the straw that broke the camel's back. So what, and it doesn't matter what topic it is, you're just planting seeds of truth and helping.
I totally agree. And I think it's for the people listening more than anything else. I mean, if you reach the person you're talking to, that's great. But like John said, there's certain things, like, for example, like I always use that point I'm repeating was one thing, because that's an objective test, right? To me, if somebody is willing to throw away math, they're not going to be a rational person. If I can't get through to them on math, there's no hope for anything else, right? Because that's something that
that's the whole point of talking to Kent Hovind. There's no point in talking to Kent Hovind to convince Kent Hovind. There's just no reason to.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Kent
that's just for entertainment.
Is running a con,
yeah,
so that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Right, but so are most flat earthers.
Yeah.
Okay, the prawn bomber wants to present.
No.
You see this? The prawn bomber wants to present. It's like my heart skipped a beat.
Show it. Do it, coward.
Oh, it's showing.
Well,
Nice.
well,
I have an immune system. No vaccines needed. OP's mom. You're fully vaccinated. This is embarrassing.
That's a big thing.
It's this that makes it, with one angry face.
Oh god.
That's a good mom right there.
I really do think parents need to go through some kind of qualification to exam or something.
There should be licensing, but to do that, you would have to create an opt-out system that basically made it so that men were not able to, ejaculate in a way that would impregnate a woman, because it's easier to stop men than it is for women. I say an opt-out system so that way it's not enforced, because you wouldn't want to enforce any kind of what is that called?
Forced sterilization?
Yeah, you can't enforce something like that. So you make it an opt-out system, so you have exceptions, but you make it opt-out because most people are lazy, so they're just going to go with it. And you just basically install a switch that has to be fixed, but done by a doctor. Easy peasy.
I like that. Just flip the switch.
Then you enforce licensing.
Jen.
Hi, Jen. Then you enforce licensing, and part of that licensing, you'd have to have early childhood care, early childhood development, and then et cetera, and actually prep parents for being parents.
So real quick,
Hi.
Jen wishes we were on flat Earth because she messages me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Want to come to a hangout? And I'm like, I'm 3 o'clock in the morning, but I love it. But she keeps forgetting this. You cater.
Time zones are a thing, and I forget about them sometimes.
I'm telling you, we all need to go flat.
Yeah, we need to go flat, so there's no time zone.
It's a utility argument,
flat, you
right?
never go back.
Like John. If we had a flat Earth, we'd have no time zones. So wouldn't that be better for
box in the background? Is that the TARDIS? Sorry.
But,
oh, my TARDIS. Yeah.
It's the only decent thing British people ever gave us, besides tea and Scotch eggs.
Oh, now I have a book here that is an incredibly rare Doctor Who book, which I will find because you guys like.
Oh, you know what? Okay, you know what?
Oh,
Not this show, but we I tell you what. Next Rum and Coke night.
There, I think.
Next RNC, we're gonna have a Doctor Who Rum and Coke night. Just talking about Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
That's fabulous.
I'm out.
Will you join us, Jen?
Don't worry.
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh, yes.
Kawasa 5000.
Mechanical manual.
Super chat. Nice.
So you've got information about sonic screwdrivers and
I want that.
lower parts
totally
of
read that.
Daleks and stuff like that. Even Davros.
What's that? Kawasa says
Is
now
it still
somebody on Twitter is
available on the
going to
market?
hang on. Now someone on Twitter is going to accuse Cheshire of advocating eugenics. Yep, that's really
But you mean somebody?
Or
What do you mean
sterilization.
somebody? We all know who exactly it's gonna be.
Keon. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes.
No,
Hello.
yes, you are audible.
Hello.
Hi. I wanted to say hi specifically to, not that I'm singling anybody out, but I wanted to say hi to Josh. It's nice to meet you finally. And I also wanted to, I don't know, I think he's still in here. John Kroon, are you still in here?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, man?
Okay, I wanted to say hi to you. I'm a very, very big astrophysics nut, so it is a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much. We're glad to have you. Thank you.
Oh, you're an astrophysicist, John. Oh, I love that.
He's the astrophysicist. He's my go-to guy.
Oh, the astrophysicist.
When I need some astro work, I'm like, hey, help me
There was
out.
a question I wanted to ask out of curiosity, just because I don't. I saw you in a video with Steve, John, and just out of curiosity, where did you get your PhD at?
So in Virginia, Northern Virginia, and Fairfax at George Mason University.
Oh, okay.
John,
Nice,
I
nice.
swear to God, you had a golden
Northern
opportunity. You should have
Oh,
said
shit.
Bible Patriot, Patriot Bible College.
No, realistically, the answer is
That's
that
where Hovind got his
immediately your
PhD, by the way,
credentials
John.
get- Immediately your credentials get questioned as soon as you're talking to Steve.
Oh yeah.
John, you never saw where Hovind got his PhD? It's quote PhD. It's a double wide trailer. It's called Patriot Bible College.
It's a diploma mill.
It's a
Isn't that where Kent
diploma, yeah.
Hovind got one of his quote unquote PhDs?
That's what we're talking about.
That's
That's exactly what we're
So I'm
talking
saying
about.
I would have replied Bible Patriot College.
And apparently he also taught high school for 15 years, which is a fucking
I speed read his dissertation in 15 minutes.
Yeah, so did I. It was,
Hi, my name is Ken
Did you see the
Hovind.
light and come back to life?
Well,
it wasn't a dissertation because he didn't dissertate anything. It was just
if you took out all the Bible
incessant
verses,
fucking rambling.
if you took out all the Bible verses, you could speed read it in 5.
Yeah.
Dude, I read it too. He argues for Satan in his paper. He's arguing for the existence of, he's arguing about the existence of Satan in his paper. And he's like, hi, my name's Ken Hovind. I've taught high school science for 15 years and a PhD thesis.
Yeah, his literal first line.
Hi, I am a scientist.
Hi, wait a minute. Like, I'm not a PhD student.
You know what though? I've got to make this happen. I've got to make this happen. I've got to make this happen. So
I wouldn't have the guts to claim that I had an engineering degree or a PhD in anything because I don't. So
The funny thing about Kent Hovind's PhD theses is even though I pretty much read the whole thing, I did kind of skim through it, but I still couldn't figure out what the actual topic that it was on was.
Wasn't one. All right, so this is what I want to see happen. When we get the Non Sequitur show back, I want to have this happen because people know I'm doing a new show with Dr. Fuzzrana for Reasons to Believe, so I have access to Dr. Hugh Ross, who's an astrophysicist, and from what I understand, he's a pretty decent astrophysicist. I would love to have his cosmology against John's cosmology. And just
so what is this Hughes cosmology?
But I want to see compare contrast what they would agree with or disagree with, because I mean, Hughes pretty secular when it comes to the norm. I mean, when it comes to the cosmology, it's basically standard stuff. I don't read anything in it that he's too far fetched on, right? But I would love to see.
So he's not a William Lane Craig.
Well, William Lane Craig's not an astrophysicist. Jason Lyles is an astrophysicist,
no, he's not.
But Jason Lyles
remotely close to
Jason Lyles thinks the
asshole. Actually,
Jason Lyles thinks the Earth is 6,000 years old and the universe is 6,000 years old. I mean, I don't know how that works in astrophysics.
Steve, I've moved on to GR and SR talks with you. Let's just stick with astrophysics, man.
Oh, by the way, Steve, I actually can give you a really, really good link on the basics of general relativity. I mean, obviously there's some math in it, but I know that you understand enough about the math. You want that link?
Sure, but I mean, I am familiar with the topic. I mean, I'm just saying that I really like to have to.
Well, no, the
breakdown of the maths done by somebody who's qualified to do it, like John. I mean,
I get what you're saying.
Talk
Can I ask you a
down to
question,
me. I
John?
love this, kind of thing.
Please.
Yes. Go ahead.
John, did you read the paper on time symmetry and orbit, the 3-orbit problem with black holes?
No, not yet. It sounds awesome. I'll do it for dessert.
Okay. What they did was they used a whole heap of IBM supercomputers to.
Oh, was this the n-body problem?
The n-body problem.
Yeah, the n-body problem.
That's what I thought it was.
They were doing the simulations of the black holes orbiting each other, then wound them backwards and found that they couldn't keep time symmetry.
From what I understand, there's no non-analytical general solution for any n-body problem.
No. What they're saying is there probably can't be because
there's too many variables and perturbations and things that are going on that it's going to be unstable very quickly, and it's just not. There's just no way to actually do it.
Which also shows that probably time is at a macroscopic level. Time probably is not symmetric.
Right. And by the way, we literally lost 95% of everybody that's watching.
Well, I think time translation symmetry is broken in general relativity, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, a lot of the paradigms.
I'm pretty sure. Because I think it has to do with the difference between the integral form and the differential form of something that defines the energy density of space. And I'd have to go read the article that Sean Carroll wrote on it again. I forgot.
It is, but time symmetry is required in quantum mechanics, so it's a problem.
Yes, but you don't work with curved manifolds in quantum mechanics, at least not yet.
That's what I want him for. Yeah. Like, that's what I to deal with these curved manifolds and stuff like that.
Like a Riemannian manifold or a pseudo-Riemannian
Not a Riemann manifold. No, an actual a Ricci curve. Curvature.
He wants
that's the actual.
He wants the manifold from a Chevy Malibu. That's what he wants.
Oh, for the sakes, Bull.
That's a V8, isn't it? I don't know.
I was gonna make a car joke. Oh my gosh, and I was muted. Fuck.
Cars in space.
Dang it!
Unmute and tell us what you're going to say.
We're having a nerdgasm for a second, guys.
The only car in space does not have a manifold. It is a Tesla.
Right.
Does it have a manifold or does it have a header? Because there's a difference. Actually, I shouldn't say that because a header is a type of manifold. I'm stupid.
It has neither. It's electric.
Oh well, that's no fun.
Yeah, that was the point. It was a joke on Elon because he didn't put manifolds in space.
You put a link to your gallery is in here. Is it okay? Do you want me to put it in the live chat for people?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
All right, so Little Red wants to dumb down for her. I don't know how to. By the way, I don't. This is yeah, I don't. This is a complex subject.
I do feel too stupid for this conversation, to be honest.
I mean, when you look, it's like there's so much stuff to have a prerequisite to. I mean, first for example, I remember taking vector analysis, and we had to learn things like bijection and isomers and homographic projection, whatever kind of shit. You forget all this stuff if you don't use it. You just don't use it. You forget it. I mean, tip to tail.
Hell yeah!
Heck,
I remember tip to tail. You never forget tip to tail.
But Steve, I gotta tell you, man, there's a lot of stuff I've come across that I haven't used in a while, and the trick is to think about it like when you're showering or brushing your teeth, or at a red light or something.
I think
Or
when
right now, like I
I'm in the shower, that's not really what I'm thinking.
I had a thought that I am convinced that soon enough NASA is going to put a teapot in the asteroid belt just to be a dick.
Right. No, well, I mean,
they're just going to drop one off.
They did. Well, hang on. They did put a teapot in the International Space Station, but Russell's teapot posits one orbiting in, like you said, in the asteroid belt. Right between Mars and Jupiter. That's Russell's
teapot. The teapot on the bottom is gonna say like Russell, as if like it's Andy written on the bottom of the shoe.
Elon was here,
so that way you know it's Russell's teapot.
Yeah. And he could actually do something like that with the Roadster. Like if he has a remote control on the Roadster to pop the glove box and it sends this little teapot into orbit, that would be hilarious.
That would be so funny.
It'd be that trick.
That would be awesome.
By now, they're cool.
And aliens would come by in the far future and find this teapot and go, "What the hell is this?" Must be a really advanced civilization. This Russell from this alien race was a very bright, brilliant man.
Where's my face?
All right. So next Rum and Coke, we'll do Doctor Who because I think that's fun. But we'll also arrange when John is free to talk some math stuff. Why are we looking at kitty?
Do it.
Why are we looking at cute kitty?
Because it's adorable. Look, it's got heterochromia.
Oh my goodness. You trying to stop us from gassing out your chest?
Look at how long the whiskers are. The whiskers are as long as this damn body.
Is it a final? Like, is it, or is it?
I want it. I want it. I want it. Please, somebody get me this.
Oh, we got it. I'm sorry, Sarah got a super chat. I missed a super chat. I did. Sorry. Sarah, I love you. Don't kill me. Sarah, super chat, $5. She says, John Kroon, do things like virtual particles and radioactive decay defy causality?
No.
No.
Oh,
can you rephrase the answer in the form of a question, please?
That quick.
Okay, so the question was, hold on, let me just recap. Let's get a recap.
Yeah.
Do virtual particles and radioactivity
violate causality?
I'm going to go with yes.
In what way? In what way would causality be relevant? So, because a question, because Steve, you know, in philosophy and epistemology.
Oh, Steve, can you mute real quick? I can't hear John.
The idea that a question contains within it an inherent assumption is entirely necessary for the person questions to understand if he or she wishes to adequately answer it. That's the philosophy of teaching.
I agree with you, but I'm going to give a little bit of principle of charity. I'm going to interpret the question this way, and this may be how she interpreted it, or she meant it. I hold that since it's already been proven that there's no theory in the Copenhagen interpretation that allows for a local hidden variable model that satisfies all conditions for Bell's inequality, therefore, you cannot have any causal relationship to anything that's going to happen in spontaneous fission, any kind of radioactive decay or virtual particles, because there's no information in the system prior to the event to have any causal relationship. So therefore, there's a effect, but there's no cause to it because there's nothing relating to the effect. I would call that
it's a non-determinate system.
It's absolutely a non-determinate system because there's absolutely no information to even be relevant.
These are false assertions. These are non sequiturs. They have nothing to do with virtual particles in modern physics or radioactive decay. And so the way I can explain this is that if you were to look at a uranium atom, a uranium atom has 92 protons and 238 minus 92 is. And pick any two of those protons and any two neutrons. That's a helium-4 nucleus. Or alpha radiation.
Alpha particle, I think.
And you can calculate the time scale upon which this helium nucleus will tunnel out of the nucleus and be emitted as a radioactive decay. We call that alpha decay, and you get something like billions of years. And so there are physics governing dynamics of the universe at a fundamental level within the umbrella of quantum mechanics that allows this to happen. You don't need a first cause or a primary mover.
And then let me tell you why I
do have a quick question.
well, let me hang on one
Go
thing at a
ahead.
time. That everything you said obviously is actual physics, right? I agree with you 100%. But the question is, though, we can never determine when that event's going to happen, right? If we said, hey, look, I want to know when this HE2.
Oh, we can. Oh, we can.
You can never tell when a spontaneous diffusion.
Oh, yeah, you can. In aggregate, that's the whole point of.
Can I add a comment quick?
If I were to say, look, hang on,
it's ensemble
hang on, let's say
statistics.
let's say I have a neutron in a non-bounded condition. Okay, and what's the life expectancy? Like 3,000 seconds for something like that. So if we have whatever it is, so we have a non-bounded neutron. There is no particular way we can say this is going to decay at this particular time. It is impossible to determine that. Correct?
Sure.
Okay, so if it's impossible to determine that, the reason being is in the system itself, there is nothing to be had that we can ever have access to. No local hidden variable that we can say, hey, we're missing information, and if you knew about this information, we can make this determination. We can't make this determination because there is no information to be had to even know. It is completely unknown. That's the causal breakage that I think Sarah's talking about.
Say that about Las Vegas, and people still go there.
No, it's not. It's not
stoichiometry.
but it's not stoichiometry. It's not like
probability.
It's a stochastic thing.
It's probability. That's what quantum mechanics is, Steve. You know quantum mechanics.
Well, I mean, that's why I disagree. I don't think it's stoichiometric. Right? Stoichiometric would be.
I'm pretty sure you know quantum.
Well, I just have the concept, sure, but I don't.
You're trying to argue that quantum mechanics is wrong, is what you're doing.
No.
And it's
Can I add a comment quick?
In the entire in the entire field of modern physics, it is the most well tested and well.
I'm actually agreeing with the
field
Copenhagen interpretation.
Entire universe. Yeah, but you're bringing up all these things that are not necessary. Hidden variables. You don't need them. No one's needing the person that asked the question never asked about hidden variables.
I think that's what she was.
Why are we talking about this?
Because that's what she's saying. It does it violate causality? Because there's no cause and effect.
Well, you can't put words in their mouth. Like,
but I know who she is,
about
though.
Causality. Causality.
I could give principle
something that requires a human being to push something along at every stage of the way. We're talking about quantum
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like it needs to be its own show. That's what it sounds like.
Steve, graphic and everything.
And by the way, I want people to recognize things. I want people to recognize
I haven't even got to virtual practice yet.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
Hang on. I want people to recognize. I love my friends when they do disagree. This is what we do.
Kick him out. He disagrees with Steve.
Now I gotta block you for the rest of my life, John.
You disagree with Steve. Off with your head.
Uh-oh. John, somebody disagreed with Steve. Oh no.
John Kroon,
What were you trying to say?
Wait, birth of a McCrazy.
What's worse is to disagree with physics. That's way worse than
I wanted to add a comment and then ask a quick question.
With the physics.
Who needs physics?
Yeah, just talk over him. Go for it. Ask your question.
So as I understand it, and I got a hold of God, what's his name? It's Jake something. I can't remember his last name. He's an associate professor of astrophysics here at Iowa State University. And I asked him about radioactive decay, and it was described to me that it is considered a stochastic process where you can statistically analyze the system, but you can't absolutely determine the system. So to give an example, you can look at a material that contains radioactive atoms. You can't look at any one of the singular atoms and state, I know when it's going to decay. However, you can statistically analyze the whole system and determine over a given period of time
about the macro level,
how much of those atoms have decayed.
Thank you, Leophilus.
Yes, Leo's right. If I have 100 atoms, I can look at that macro on the macro level and say, look, after a certain amount of years, let's say like carbon-14, which is 5,270 years, after that many years, half of that material is going to be gone. I can say that stochastically, yes. But an individual particle, you cannot stochastically say when that particle is going to decay. You have no way of knowing. It's impossible. Because there's, like I said, there is no hidden variables in that system.
That's true of most of quantum mechanics, isn't it, Steve?
Because
statistical analysis.
No, in pilot wave theory, they do use global hidden variables.
Oh, come on.
Oh, Jesus.
How many
I mean, look, Bohmian mechanics works.
I
it's just more
quite like
complicated.
pilot wave theory, but that's just me.
It works. It works, right?
It works, yeah.
It's just more complicated. Well, John, one of these days,
doesn't the many worlds interpretation work as well?
Sure.
So the thing about quantum mechanics is the only thing where experimentally we could verify it, but the interpretations about what fundamentally is happening is up to everyone. And there's not even a majority on any of the dozen or so interpretations.
What do you prefer?
So it's just like,
yeah, you're right, but what do you prefer?
I'm a old school. I like the Copenhagen. You know what
I agree that I think it just
many worlds just kills me. Yeah. I can't. Look, there's nothing wrong with the many worlds hypothesis, but ontologically, it just destroys my.
Like where? Because Steve, where's like the energy of an entire universe coming from? Every time you flip a coin, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's preposterous.
Yeah, well, that's what
I think.
and by the way,
stupid whore energy is trying to kill us, because she also then said, so from quantum mechanics, can we say that Thomist cause and effect is refuted?
I think so. I'm not a big fan of Thomism. And by the way, the person who talked about this would be Dr. Kenny Rhodes, who I can get on at any time when he's available, because he's from Reason to Believe, because he's a Thomist. But I don't think Thomism really applies when it comes to cause and effect on the real world, because I'm sorry, there is no law of cause and effect. It doesn't exist. It's an observation.
Yeah. I would say it's more an observation of processes that fundamentally occur, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's got more to do with the way that we like to perceive things than perhaps how nature.
We like to categorize and we try to categorize everything we see and fit it in the little brain circuits we have.
They're asking in regards to how all this applies to essentially the Kalam cosmological argument.
We're gonna get
time is tenseless, so there's no technical beginning in any classical sense of that word to begin with.
We are going to get Scott Clifton talk about the subject.
Glorious. Hi, Harry.
As long as he doesn't bring up the BVG theorem.
BVG theorem?
Hi, Harry.
That just makes me fucking cringe.
Hi, Harry is asking.
Oh my God, what was that?
So you're going to talk about the arrow of time, Steve?
That way. That way.
Hi, Harry is asking.
Entropy goes up, arrow time.
Hold on.
Hi, Harry is asking, how important is it to try and visualize things in physics? Do major breakthroughs in problems solely depend on minds being able to do so? How different do you think our pictures are?
So
define visualization.
I'm a big fan of Feynman. He always thought in pictures. Einstein did too, and Feynman was always trying to use these pictures to simplify, in his own genius mind, what only could amount to extremely complex subatomic physics. He's one of the founding fathers of quantum electrodynamics, and we use the Feynman diagrams, which is in its essence a pictorial representation of something that is far more complex than is given by those pictoriograms.
More
so
intuitive representation.
Do you know that? You know Landon studied under Feynman?
Oh wow!
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Richard Feynman is one of my major influences.
So
amazing man.
We've got two super chats, and it's Little Red for $1.99 says, "I'll pay you $1.99 to stop talking about this," and then Philosopher 2 also says, "I'm paying 2,001 to say Little Red is right." They're giving up on you.
Can't please everybody.
There was another super chat, right? There was a $5 one and a $2 one. Did you?
I've got to ask, what's wrong with being intellectual? I think it's
I don't think they have a problem. I think you just lost them. I think they've gotten confused. They're lost. Send help. Yeah. They're asking for a lifesaver. I mean the candy, not the.
Ask for clarification. One of my favorite things to do is to at least try to clarify some of these complex topics so that they're palatable for people who don't understand all of the complex mathematics.
But the problem is,
I wish you luck, good sir.
At college level, and I know some basic algebra.
I wanted to go back to what John was talking about, because I think it's fascinating, because he makes a brilliant point, because he's a brilliant guy. But he talks about, like, on the many worlds hypothesis, this energy, like, to create all the universe. And there's something to be said for that, where there's a theory out there that talks about universe basically ceasing to exist every Planck second and then coming back into existence. So it's a discontinuous. It's not. There's no contiguous.
Discrete.
Yeah, it's not. It's non-discrete, or it's discrete in the fact that it'll disappear and then come back, but so fast we don't notice it, right? So it's not a linear type of points that are from one point to another. It's just universe exists, it goes away, it comes back. How much? That seems like an unreal amount of energy to have something system like that, and that's kind of what I see with the multi-world hypothesis is. Where the hell's the energy? It just seems weird.
Yeah, not to mention causality. Like, how does this information propagate through the observable or an even non-observable universe?
But I have a question. But can't a little bit of energy start a chain reaction?
Yeah, but it'll take time to get to the rest. Yeah.
And the energy itself has. Yeah, I mean, you don't create or destroy energy, so one little bit of energy is not going to create more energy.
This actually can't create or destroy energy. You can only change it from one form to another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a good argument that.
Well, you
So I
can't
got
create or
everybody was
destroy
saying
energy.
that you need a lot of energy for the universe we are existing in to create and destroy so many bodies and whatever we have. And then there's a difference between that and a little bit of amount of energy starting a chain reaction for entirely. But you still need matter and you still need energy for that matter to.
Bonnie, we'll get to the super chat in a second.
Yeah.
Bonnie, do you consider energy as because the way I looked at it, to me, energy is just matter is just condensed energy.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's
I mean, that's literally what it is.
Yeah, that's what
quantum field theory proved that.
Yeah. So
Godless Scummer for 5 says, "I'll pay you to keep this going. It's over my head, but I enjoyed G-Man and Nathan Thompson earlier."
Well, I mean, we're no
I watched that too, and it was a complete dumpster fire.
We're not on the level of G-Man and Nathan Thompson. I'm sure we will aspire to that.
You mean they're not on our level? Because
I mean, if you want to make a point, if you do want to make a point, if you're sure about that, how many viewers did they have live, and how many viewers do we have live? Just saying.
There was actually a problem that occurred in that debate that really irritated me, and I like James a lot, but this is one of the things that I think he can improve on. And at one point in the debate, G-Man referred to both FTFE and Team Skeptic as being racist because they kept interrupting him, and I just don't think that's okay. I think the minute that occurred, James should have muted everybody and said, look, we are not going to have race baiting on this channel. You're not going to sit here and say that somebody's being racist if they haven't stated something that is.
Well, you've got one problem there, and what your expectation there, and the expectation is that James is going to stop the debate and actually intervene.
James, I think, tries too hard to be fair. He tries too hard.
I actually think James is a dreadful moderator.
I do too. I love James. I really do. But I've told James, you suck.
I like the guy.
I don't think he's the worst I've ever seen, but I do think he has room for.
That's because he doesn't actually moderate.
Yeah,
I think he presents an interesting platform, but it's like basically a boxing ring with no referee, which is fine. It can be, but it shouldn't pretend to be anything that it's not. Kawasa for 5 says, ... you will turn us all into young Earth creationists. Their explanation is more simple. Also some swirly eyes. And then Helios for 10 said, Steve, that it wasn't swirly, it wasn't eyes. Helios for 10 said, Steve, that would actually be a zero-sum energy system since it would generate just as much energy as it would take to recreate it. So you would not need any outside energy for it.
That's what perfect system is. That's an isolated system.
Yeah,
that
it would be zero-sum.
Leak any energy or dissipate.
But
yeah,
I mean, I would have to be like a no free lunch kind of thing, right? Like no free lunch. It'd have to be kind of some kind of system where you would be able to have energy at the initial, but somehow the net energy of the entire universe is going to be zero. So, but it's got to happen really fast. I mean, the universe created and it's destroyed, and created and it's destroyed. So we are from time point A to B to C, and how do we propagate? How is it that we continue from one time slice to another? Right? Because if you think about it, we're in every whatever Planck time, we're in a different quantum mechanical state. We're in a different physical state. Everything is about as different. Our cells change, we are not the same people we were when we were, last week. We have very different physiology.
A minute ago, I've already had a beer.
So how does the consciousness how does your consciousness propagate throughout that? It's weird.
I don't think there is actually a sort of movement through time. I don't think that the majority of physics or physicists would believe that we actually move through time.
I think time's illusionary.
More that is, I don't think that time is an illusion itself. I think that the passage of time is more an illusion. I get what you meant, but some people, when they hear time is an illusion, they think that time literally does not exist, which I don't think would be true.
Well, there's two ways to look at time. There's two ways to look at it. There's Platonist, what's called reductionism or Platonism. The Platonistic version of time is that the universe actually has a time component to it, something that actually is a variable that does change. The reductionist says no. All time is our observation of particles that have changed states. If there is no changing of states at any level, the quantum or otherwise, in the universe, the reductionist would say no, time has passed. The Platonist says no, time is still passing, but nothing's moving. Those are very different ways of looking at time, philosophically speaking.
Yeah, I guess I would fall more into the first camp, that time is a physical fundamental property of reality. And I think that general relativity kind of shows that gravitation doesn't just curve space, it slows down time. So time obviously has to be at least, maybe not elementary, but still has to be fundamental down to some point.
Oh, no, I just, okay, I misunderstood. I think time is something that we observe as change. If nothing changed in the universe, I don't know what time would mean.
I could agree with that, but I would say that you couldn't get anything
Steve,
not changing.
That would make you a pragmatist, not a physicist.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little pragmatism.
Does anybody really know what time
that was mentioned earlier?
No,
Does
he's
anybody
a
really care?
I mean, the concept is that effectively the universe is pretty much a ground state of zero. It's just that the energy of the universe is so dissipated that you've effectively got a zero energy basically across the universe. So I know it's one of the theories, right?
You're talking about 0 point energy?
Is that I'm actually getting to a point. Yeah, so if you're talking about virtual particles and stuff like that popping in and out of existence, is that a case that perhaps they are driving the expansion of the universe because the universe has to expand to maintain that zero state?
There are some theories that dark energy might be the energy inherent to space-time, the vacuum energy. Personally, John would have to comment, but I don't know whether that's been verified or not, but I do know that has been proposed.
I thought it was the negative
energy.
Well,
that was what I was kind of getting to. I apologize for my layperson's description of it.
Shit, I understood it pretty well.
John?
I think you did pretty well.
So, definitely virtual particles are something that you could both never see directly until we observe Hawking radiation, and never need to in order to know
the Casimir effect was a way that we observed it too, wasn't it?
So that's sure.
That's
energy inherent to space-time.
I would say, well,
did we
it's more
observe
like,
it, or did we just observe the effect of it to prove that they actually exist? I mean, I know that's a bit of a semantical point, but we didn't actually observe the 0 point energy itself or 0 point particles. We observed the effect of them. Well,
it goes even less exotic than that. Even just me and you existing, stable matter. The virtual photons between the nucleus of an atom and the orbital shell of electrons. And how many atoms in the universe are there? Each one a testimony to the existence of these fleeting, never to be seen so-called virtual particles. And then you could talk about more exotic forms of their manifestations. But definitely quantum field theory hinges upon these particles. And it is one of the most successfully tested theories in the entire universe that we know of.
Definitely.
That's why I laugh when people question aspects of theoretical physics, especially quantum theory. I find a lot of creationists question it. I'm just like, you do realize that this is the single most accurate theory that the single most well-tested theory we have.
What creationists try to say is, I'll be the devil's advocate here. They're saying that you're trying to fit a narrative to the evidence that's out there. I think that's what they're trying to.
But most of the problems with creationists in their view of the world is that they look at it from the top down, and that all the complexity and structure and function is imposed from the top down rather than emerging from the bottom up, which is what practically all of the data from every branch of physical sciences points to. That everything emerges from the bottom up. It's not imposed on the top or from the top down by some sort of intelligence, which is what they say. They just look at reality wrong.
Everything fits into the environment, not the other way around.
It's called supervenience, by the way, Leo. Supervenience is from bottom up.
Doesn't that come more from their idea that the laws of science? They tend to think the laws of science are prescriptive, whereas they're actually
They're descriptive. Yeah.
Exactly.
So John, did you hear? I mean, did you like the news recently of the newest star discovery that they did? Once again, just demonstrating that GR is right. Go figure. From black holes that actually they've demonstrated that because of the way they orbit around a black hole is around a star, it actually been showing precession, Schwarzschild precession. Is that cool shit? Because that was predicted. It was predicted. Nobody's ever seen it. Well, here it is.
Thing, yeah. Well, I mean, there was we did it with Mercury's orbit around the sun, but we wanted to go to the high field limit just to be sure. And it was just the umpteenth time that something Einstein predicted 100 years ago. Right? And it was just, I love it.
Wait, you mean general relativity got confirmed again?
You see over here on my wall, who's that guy? To my right, this bluish, blackish, purple poster.
Yeah, I know that guy.
That's the man. That's the man.
Yeah.
I think the problem a lot of the people who deny science have, and
oh god,
they just don't understand it.
Is to do with but because
they don't get the methodologies.
From people in their rooms just doing little experiments to stuff that is not intuitive. So the concepts involved in general relativity or quantum mechanics are not intuitive to us in our everyday life. They don't make sense to somebody whose normal life is just going and buying a loaf of bread and making toast.
Or on top, or to go a little bit even further, it disturbs them to the sense that it doesn't conform with what they want to believe, what makes them feel comfortable. So they just reject it.
It's so far removed from any intuitive understanding that they think that it must be false. That's why a lot of creationists that try to think that they're more scientific consistently reject special relativity in favor of the Lorentzian ether theory because it resurrects numerous aspects of our reality that can be described in a much more intuitive manner versus special relativity.
I just want to really quick read this one out loud because I don't know if outside can see it. It's Rey at the end of Star Wars, and it just says, Anakin saying, "The Force surrounds you, Rey." Isla saying, "Let it guide you." Tano saying, "As it guided us." Mace Windu, "Get up, motherfucker!"
Yeah, Rey.
As to that comment about creationists, it's not so much that it's counterintuitive. It's when you grow up in an environment in a group that you're taught to think in a certain way, but you don't have access or are denied access to a scientific query or not taught adequately the sciences. I mean, you can't really fault them for that on that end, but on the other side, you also have particular figures who prey off that ignorance and profit from it too. So there's two factors that are sticking out.
Yeah, we got a super chat, and before I read that out, I just want to go ahead and say one of the things that I just found, it just says a trending article or something that says, "Straight guy worries he's being homophobic to gay roommate, realizes he's falling in love with him. Plot twist, turns out that I don't have any problem with Alex kissing guys. If it's me, he's kissing." Stupid Horror Energy said, "What do you guys think of the fine tuning of the what is that, Hoyle state? Does it prove a fine tuner?"
No
idea.
Well, because this is back to thinking that things are prescriptive instead of descriptive again, isn't it?
So I just, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the Hoyle state isn't that just when a helium-4 nucleus fuses with beryllium or something like that?
I can Google it real quick if you want.
It's for some kind of stellar burning,
that.
but I don't remember what is burning because I remember, we have beryllium 7. Okay, I'm trying to remember my whole oxygen cycle because I remember I had a book on this from time. CNO, the carbon dioxide oxygen cycle.
Excited carbon 12 state.
So carbon 12 go, and then you would have beryllium, because I remember there was 2 types of beryllium. Beryllium 7, I believe it was 7 had actually decayed, and then beryllium 8 stayed in the star for a very, very, very long time. So I don't remember the isotopes. There was a game that you can actually play one time, and you can actually start off with like hydrogen, and then go to helium, and then you start building up beryllium and lithium and iron and carbon and oxygen, and then it eventually gets like iron, and so your star like dies, and you have to like try to keep the star burning. And I don't remember the name of the game. It was really freaking cool, man. But I don't remember the exact things for the Hoyle state.
Throw more hydrogen into the star; that'll keep it burning. For a while.
Yeah, so two helium-4 nuclei collide and fuse and become beryllium-8.
Yes!
Beryllium-8 has a half-life of 8 times 10 to the negative 17 seconds.
Okay, so that was the fast one. Beryllium-7, is that the one that lasts a very long time?
It doesn't last a whole lot longer. So you still have you have to have really high temperatures and pressures.
I think I might understand. I found it on Wikipedia, and I think I might understand what they were trying to get at with it being fine-tuned. Here it says, the Hoyle state is populated when a helium-4 nucleus fuses with a beryllium-8 nucleus in a high temperature, 10 to the 8th Kelvin or more, environment with densely concentrated helium. This process must occur within 10 to the negative 16th seconds as a consequence, of the short half-life of beryllium-8. So it's fine-tuned because the helium has to fuse with the beryllium's.
So it has to happen really quick.
Decay.
You have to find each other.
I would state that has nothing to do with fine-tuning. It's just some of the helium might, some of the helium might.
Hang on. Here's the problems I have.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of beryllium and you have a lot of helium, you're going to have a lot of interactions of them combining on the macro level.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of statistics, is all, like everything else.
Yes, it's a big star.
Quick question from the chat. Kawasa's asking, isn't beryllium the stuff that powers the Enterprise? Beryllium spheres or something like that? Is it? Is that right? Dilithium crystals.
Dilithium crystals.
I know that one.
Yeah, I mean, don't you remember the song? Dilithium crystals hit by Klingon missiles.
Well, no, if I remember correctly, dilithium crystals didn't power the ship. What dilithium crystals did was it took the fusion reaction, and then
I didn't watch Star Trek, so
it basically acts as like a lens that concentrates.
It's a catalyst.
Yeah, something like those lines.
It's a catalyst, I think. Yeah.
We need to get an expert in here.
We need Star Trek science. John may know astrophysicist, but he doesn't know Star Trek fusion reactors.
Yeah, I do, man. It's the lithium crystals, the dilithium crystals. What they do is they create a warp field in space. Exactly. I gotta get it here.
Exactly, warp field.
Wait, Hawkskull is saying that the beryllium.
I can't even say with a straight face.
Hawkskull is saying that the beryllium spheres are in Galaxy Quest.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what Galaxy Quest is.
So there's something in physics called the mean free path. Okay, and so so the mean free path basically is a cross section. Okay, so this, let me go back to my science a little bit. Okay, so there's something called the macroscopic cross section for absorption, and then there's the microscopic cross section for absorption for scattering, and then there's from other things. What this goes into a big formula. And what this formula tells you is called the mean free path of how long a particle is going to travel before it attenuates and slows down and moderates and actually can interact with another particle. Right? Yeah, exactly. So it's lethargy.
Do you guys remember the conversation somebody was having? I can't remember which flat earther it was, but somebody was having, I think it was on Fight the Flat Earth channel, and this person was saying that math was witchcraft created by witches and Hitler apparently.
I didn't know Sir was a Nazi.
Well, it inspired some art, and I'm gonna. It's actually only available on Patreon, but I'm gonna show it to you guys. Give me a second to find it and continue your conversation, and I will present it and show it to you.
So the lethargy is based upon all the summations of those microscopic states, and so the mean free path, if you have helium-2 and you have beryllium, is probably going to be pretty short in a star that size. I mean, even though it's rarefied, probably all things considered. I would imagine you have a lot of interactions on something of that scale, and so I don't know why that would be considered fine-tuned.
Yeah, well, I think that's because creationists, a bit like flat earthers, don't have any concept of scale.
No, definitely not.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, most of them think that the universe is only 6,000 years old, so we can only see 6,000 light years away from us. We can't even see our whole galaxy.
John,
yet,
how many millions or billions of years on average do you think the average neutrino takes to actually make it from the internal part of the star to like our eyes? How many years has it been?
For a neutrino?
Well, I'll say a photon.
Photon.
A photon is like 100,000 years or so, isn't it?
Well, hold on. There's a calculation I did in college. All right, shout out to Dr. Butner, and senior astrophysics, chapter 7, section 3, page 487, on March 18th, 2008. Here's what happened. John Crone did the calculation and found that you have to first know very accurately the density as a function of radius, rho of r. And now we could estimate that. And if you want to do it really quickly, you have to make some textbook simplifications. You assume a constant density core of this really high density, and then at some radius r greater than a but less than b, it's this slightly smaller density, and then you have a more rarefied outer region. And then, or you could start off even simpler than that and just say the whole thing's one same density, and you get a really bad answer. But if you have density gradients, you do the answer, you do the calculation, and you find that it's about 50,000 to 200,000 years to get out. And if it's like closer to uniform density, it's correspondingly less. But it's an exponential function. And so as your density gradients increase, you get different time scales. That's why you get different. If you go onto Facebook and you're going on a science or astronomy group or some page, or someone posted a science article and they quote just one number, it's one of the many estimates in a large range that you're going to get, because it's highly sensitive to the precise density gradient.
So would you have to calculate for each of the density regions and then like average over all of them to get some sort of accurate, or how exactly would you
well, if you did that, you'd want to do a weighted average, but you'd probably end up with something closer to the mean, some weighted mean of the original range in the first place. And so it's just a rehash of saying we're not quite sure then how the density changes. We know the densities at different points in the star. Because of nuclear physics, we can constrain like in the core, but the exact locations and how they vary. Do they vary logarithmically, polynomial? Can you fit them using this function or that function? And they could be very close to one another. But when you have something that so sensitively depends on a spatial variation, a small change could result in a huge discrepancy in the result. I did it myself, and I was like, "What? Come on, man!" And that's what I said. I got an A minus.
That's a long way of saying that it takes a long time for something to actually leave the
50,000 to 200,000 years. I would say 100,000. Let's call it 100,000 years. Order of magnitude.
So if a photon is emitted from the eternal thing of a star, or if it's from some galaxy far away, its travel time for it to itself, relative to itself, is instantaneous, right? So it's created and destroyed at the same time.
No. Well, hold on. It's us measuring its experience of passage.
Right. But to it, if it had to measure its own, how would it measure its own experience if it was created and destroyed at the same time?
Well, no, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to experience zero time. It just means that we're going to measure its perceived perception of the passage of time.
But wouldn't it be zero time with respect to itself?
If you were to go in, what would happen if you actually Lorentz boost into a photon would be that it would experience some non-zero time, but the rest of the universe would exist for zero time, and space would have no length. Weird things happen when you deal with infinities and singularities. You know what I mean? What's 1 over 0? It's like you could infinity. Infinity's a word. Right. Like, what do you mean? Infinity is a word.
I would call that undefined, but yeah. I mean, I really look. I get when we use zero as a, like, for example, infinities, because they're not a real number. They're not a real number in real analysis, right? But there's ways to conceptualize things, like 0 over 1 divided by 0 is clearly undefined. But
I'm talking about the limit.
The limit is approach, right? I mean, you could just hospitals rule and stuff like that, and I get it. But the people in the audience, they're like, "How do you divide by 0?" Well, you have to know a little bit about math to you can finagle that a little bit, right?
Right. It doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, to 0th order, Steve, zero time.
But Chesh, that is so cute.
Right, I agree.
So
technically, is it the same photon though?
I can actually zoom this in.
Well,
check this out. So if you look real quick, if I zoom in, there's numbers.
41906.
And
Jen makes a good
if you wanna-
question.
These numbers are actually something. Do you want to know what they are?
Yeah.
So the numbers are the measurements to the International Space Station from Reds and Astronomy Live's video.
That's pretty cool.
Because that's what they were talking about when this guy was like, math was created by witches, so I drew a witch goblin making math out of a cauldron.
So Jen asked me a good question. Is it the same photon? If a photon have traveled for such a long time, how many times is it going to be absorbed and re-emitted throughout its travel time?
And if it's absorbed and re-emitted, is it the same photon?
Right.
Yeah, I mean...
Is this like?
I mean, yes, in that it's a photon, but no, in that it could be a different disturbance of the photon, or rather the electromagnetic field.
If it's
I mean, it just depends on how you want to look at it, really.
If it's the same energy level, I mean, okay. The thing is there has to be a differential between two things to have a distinguishability between them. It's called what's called indiscernibilities of identicals. I mean, if two things have the exact same identical things, they are indiscernible from each other. They are the same entity. So if you have two photons, and let me ask John about this. If I have two fundamental particles that are exactly the same in all conditions, there are theories out there that they are the same particle, just different instantiations of the two. It's like
Feynman had the single electron universe hypothesis.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing about all right.
I don't buy it, but I mean.
Is that similar to the transporters for Star Trek?
No, you're just dead.
Steve, hold on though. Can I say one more thing though? Hold on. If we're trying to be fair and we're trying to distinguish between these things, and we have to be completely and totally complete. If they're observed at two different locations at the same time or even at different times, and they don't really have the same quantum state. So no photons are the same, or no particles are ever the same, because at least no fermions are ever the same, and especially no non-locally disparate bosons such as photons, because they're never observed at the same place at the same time. So if you include the space-time coordinate into their complete quantum state, then those last two components break the paradox.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, drink. Drink to Res Instance and John tonight.
Bye.
And John's spitting out some reality for
Right?
y'all. In case you didn't notice, that's what he was talking
some
about.
knowledge
Damn
here,
it,
bitches.
stupid whore energy. We're not
Take that
done
stupid whore
apparently.
energy. Take that.
For
Take it.
5,
Take it.
can particles uncancel themselves, and does that help explain a universe from nothing?
God.
Wait, what?
Uncancel. Particles uncancel themselves.
I don't know what that
can
means.
particles
I really don't
uncancel
either, but-
themselves, and
That's
does
what
that help explain a universe from nothing?
So that's what I told to Hulu when I said I didn't mean to subscribe to the HBO add-on, which was like $20 a month. I said, can I cancel? So to answer the question, I would say, see above.
Yeah.
See above.
You know what?
Can
How
they
about,
cancel themselves?
I don't know what that question means either, but I mean, I think what she's saying is this. Maybe okay. So let's say I have a Feynman diagram for a positron electron pair production, right? Let's say they cancel each other and form, what is it, two gammas or gamma? It's two gammas, isn't it? They form.
I thought it was photon.
Gamma is a photon. It's just a type of energy level.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
all right, whatever.
So you can get one photon.
Okay, so one photon that produces. So that's a cancellation. So maybe that photon, as it travels, it can actually form a proton and electron, and we never know. It could just do it like that, and then. Matter of fact, the entire travel line, if I remember correctly from Feynman, didn't he hypothesize that photons constantly are doing this, forming, some kind of pair, anti-pair, and cancel each other out while it travels? I thought I remember reading something like that a long time ago.
Well, you do need a scattering center for pair production, but you don't need one for annihilation. And in the case of one pair annihilation, you could get one gamma ray photon, but it's going to travel along the symmetry axis so that you conserve the momentum. Steve?
Yeah.
Back to you.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to arrange something here going on. Did that answer your question, Sarah? Because I didn't fully understand.
Steve's being a wiener.
No, I was trying to get somebody to. Never mind.
I know. I saw what you're doing.
I'm a little shit.
Steve was doxing people. He was doxing.
Steve's doxing. Look at his face.
This is
What are
me.
you, me?
This is me on Christmas.
He's like that the goblin assistant that who means well, but then who goes about it the way like it's the most apprehensive, like abhorrent way possible.
Well, good God,
like, but they mess it up so bad.
I've got the worst minions in the history of minions.
For anybody who actually wants the smug that Steve is drinking out of, here you go. That's the link to it.
Just out of interest, what is everyone? I know John's field is astrophysics. So what is everyone's field?
Like professionally or just as an interest? Because professionally, I have no field.
That's simple,
yeah,
Jen.
okay.
Yeah, your field is yes. Okay, I got that.
I majored in English.
Oh, cool.
I don't have a field. I am a goblin.
Yeah, I don't have a field either. I just have things I'm interested in.
Mine was nuclear technologies.
I have a master's in engineering, but I work in a very different field. I work in occupational health and safety. So
that is a very different field. I have a associate diploma in computer science and one in math.
That's awesome.
Math.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh man, I want to go back. I want to go back so bad and get something done in mathematics, because mathematics and calculus, like they were my nemesis back then. And
I'm thinking now of going and getting my master's in John's field because I love it.
In the field of John.
I'm telling you,
What's there to learn about Johns?
all my life I wanted to be. Seriously, I'm not. Hang on, I'm not even fronting. All my life, when I was growing up, I loved astronomy, and I was like, I want to grow up and I want to be an astrophysicist. And I swear to you, once I saw the math, I'm like, oh hell no.
Just no. You're like,
Look, nuclear stuff. I
want to go back so bad and start all over again.
I did the
and
calc
do my
level
math
stuff. I did
and
the
get
nuclear
something
stuff,
done
but
in math.
That's
And
nothing compared to the stuff on
Steve,
I'm desperately looking around for resources right now to help me like start somewhere. Like so, yeah, I'm desperate right now.
Math is hard.
But what? I don't get what math would scare you, Steve.
So I called
You love calculus.
No, I don't. I mean, no, I
Steve,
don't.
if you could do nuclear stuff, you could do astrophysics.
No,
My
I
advice
can't.
to you.
No.
Now, hold on, hold on,
John, hold on. There's a difference between understanding a concept and putting it on paper to prove it. Math requires proof, right? So to go through all those steps to come and prove that concept and start from the assumptions and the states and then put them down in a formula and then go step by step, making sure you don't mess up your signs, like your positive and the negatives, and then still end up with the correct thing at the bottom of it.
I shit you not, Manya. Okay, look, in nuke school, we actually there's something called error carry forward. And so, and the minus sign was one of the biggest
points for that.
Oh, they get points.
Oh, yes. Points for that in the exam.
But that is the biggest mistake that I made in my math in nuke school.
Oh, jeez.
Was that I would have a negative that for some reason, I'm doing an integration, right? And it's like and by the simple shit. I'm not even kidding. You have you have C1 and you have C2, and you combine them, and you have C, right? Because there's a constant, so the constant's integration. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I'm always fucking up signs. That's the kind of shit that I got wrong, right? But I mean, it wasn't like I was wrong. It was just these minor errors that kept trending. They do an ECF called error carried forward, and then we had two other things we called CE.
Oh, that's the worst.
CE was called conceptual error. These were just means that hey, look, you're a little confused here, right? Then we had GCE, gross conceptual error, which means
you're just out of the ballpark.
And then we had one other level.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If you have this on your paper, I only had one of these my entire time, and I'll tell you what happened. Yeah. WTF. And it means exactly what you think it means. And what happened was I only had that one time, and it was on a question.
It means what?
What you think it means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what was I remember the question very distinctly. It was dealing with a steam turbine system. We had what's called a duplex strainer. And a duplex strainer is where you shift oil from one side to the other, and so you can clean the filter out. Well, we were also studying evaporators of the system, and one of the evaporators were a basket system. And so I confused an evaporator basket with the basket for the lube oil strainer. And so I answered the question on how to properly shift lube oil strainers rather than how the evaporator would work on the condenser. On the what's called the distiller unit. And I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like,
you know how I passed my master's all this while? I would go to my professor and I would say, listen, dude, I can't get this formula down right. I don't know why. I just get confused. Maybe I don't know. I'm dyslexic, whatever. But my formulas, they get mucked up for some reason when I'm writing them down. And he's like, okay, don't worry about the formulas. Just write down what you understand. And that's how I got my grades. Because I wrote down what I understood.
So
like, this is the concept. This is going down the dribbling. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fish.
There's a something that I just want to jump in on here real quick. So it looks like Lily Jean's hired a lawyer.
Good.
Ooh.
Named
I don't
Andrew,
know who that is.
Yeah, we've had her on the show before. She's a young girl who's been bullied since the age of 15 to try and get her to basically kill herself. Andrew Rossow, I don't know how to spell his say his name. Rosssow. So I was just looking him up here. He's a lawyer in Hollywood, deputy editor and co-founder at a news website named Grit Daily, attorney, cybersecurity law professor, author and speaker on privacy and cybersecurity.
I think that's a good idea.
Current writer for Bloomberg Law, Law 360, Cointelegraph, et cetera, et cetera. I just did a quick Google search of the guy. I haven't looked into it to see how credible or anything they are as a person or how credible their website is. I'm still looking into that because I just saw this. But looks like happy to announce that beginning on June 1st, I will be coming aboard with Lily Jean as her brand and reputation manager. It's time to start pushing for more legislative action on criminalizing cyberbullying.
I fully could agree. I could not agree more.
I agree.
That's so awesome.
I hate bullies.
I will when I get a chance, I'll reach out to her and say, look, I'm good going.
That will,
I'll pass you guys the tweet so you guys can look into it.
I checked up on her not too long ago. She seems to be doing okay because I mean we want to make sure she's well.
Yeah, this will definitely.
There's the tweet if you guys want to look into it.
Yeah. This will definitely take off some burden from from Lily's mom's shoulders because she deals with so much shit. Yeah, so this is good that she's got a partner, someone who can tell her where the direction that she's going in, whether it's the right direction or not, or what to give consideration to and what not to give consideration to.
And just having a lawyer, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask why this woman's being targeted by so many people, or is there not really a singular reason?
It's a kid.
Tell you what, how about I give you like 2 links of video, 2 or 3 videos you can watch?
Sure, that works.
Okay. I'll put them in the internal chat. Give me a minute.
Hopefully I can bear through them because I can't stand bullies. I got in
watch
quite
them
a
at
bit of
double
trouble
speed
in high school for not like bullying bullies, but calling bullies out.
I'll give you the one where we had her on. I'll give you the one where we talked about it, and I'll give you on halftime of the month, and I'll give you the one that what's the other one? Oh, the one that the Cafe Corner we did.
All right, so here's the thing. Who doesn't do the bullies? That Leo?
Yeah, I
so
can't
let me give you some. Let me tell you straight out. A lot of people say that, but when you're actually the victim and you've seen what has happened to people like Lily, myself, Cheshire, Sweet Heathen, and some other people, bravado goes right out the window. The people that we've had to deal with are sick. They're sick, they're twisted, and they will destroy you, your friends, your family, your loved ones.
Oh, hey, speak of the devil, they're currently giving $2 to come and troll us. Steve McCarran for 2 said, is there a manager I can speak with? The answer is no. Fuck off. I'm the manager and I'm telling you to leave. Get out of my store, bitch.
So, Leo, just be very careful what you wish for,
because they're giving their own money to you. How the fuck is that trolling? Like, keep commenting. Let the money roll in.
No, it's about
You'd
the
be
money.
surprised. You'd be impressed by the amount that we've actually had to deal with these people coming in to try and weaponize dead people in super chats. Like, no, we have to block them. It's been a matter of let them come in and chat.
Hang on. So Sarah, hang on. Yeah, Sarah, hey, what's up, Scott? So Sarah asked a question earlier about the Kalam cosmological argument. Now, I recently been trying to figure this out because Scott here, theoretical bullshit.
I didn't just freak out. I don't know what you're talking about.
So he actually just recently had a thing with Cameron Pertuzzi, I believe it was, on this very topic, right? And so I'm bringing in a heavy hitter on here to answer Sarah's question because she had super chat on this about the Kalam. So anyway, Scott, hey, good seeing you, buddy. It's been a while. You have to unmute, by the way.
Hello.
You come in muted on this
Yeah, you come in muted.
app.
By the way, welcome to our Rum and Coke night.
I asked, can you hear me like 10 times before I realized I was muted.
All right. So first, Scott, I know you're busy, so I'm only going to take up like 5 or 10 minutes of your time. Could you tell Sarah basically the Kalam and what you were arguing with Capturing Christianity about why you don't think it's a good argument, which, by the way, I do agree. But
I mean, getting into Cameron's misunderstanding is like a whole other thing that takes like a lot of time to unpack. Actually, it's deceptively simple.
Just a quick question. Cameron's the guy that runs the Capturing Christianity channel, isn't he?
Correct. Okay. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
My objection to the Kalam argument is really with the first premise, and my objection is really sort of vanilla. It's just that the first premise is really poorly supported. Craig and other proponents of the argument try really, really hard to sort of gloss over that first premise so that they can make the entire thing hinge on that second premise. And I think that's kind of a sneaky move and not.
It's a very good way of summing it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll hear, Craig does this all the time in interviews and stuff where he says, well, anybody who doesn't accept the first premise just believes in magic. It's magic. And so my objection to the first premise is it's really, really poorly supported. It's supported by a couple of things. One is induction, right? So everything that we see that begins to exist has a cause of its existence. The other thing is intuition, right? You don't imagine a tiger popping into existence out of nothing. Uncaused, and so that seems counterintuitive to imagine that the universe or anything else could begin to exist uncaused. And the third one is a sort of like conceptual analysis where he goes, well, if something can come into existence out of nothing, then it becomes inexplicable how anything and everything doesn't come into existence out of nothing. So I think those three arguments are really, really bad. And I'm happy to tackle each and any one of those and explain why they're bad, but rather than do that, I think an easier way to illustrate that those three arguments are bad is to just kind of create a bizarro Kalam argument, which goes, premise one, whatever has an efficient cause of its existence has a material cause. Premise two, the universe has no material cause of its existence. Premise three, therefore, the universe doesn't have an efficient cause of its existence, which means
I saw the way you worded that, and I thought that was an interesting approach because I'm okay with the probably maybe being a material cause, but the efficient cause is where I take an issue. If you're going to deal with the Aristotelian four causes, but right. That's where I run into a problem is the efficient cause.
Yeah. Yes, and there's a couple stipulations you have to make there. One is that we're talking about the existence of concrete objects. We're not talking about events or abstracta or anything like that. So people get stuck on that. The other thing is that we are defining, this is both in the real Kalam and in my Bizarro version, but we're defining material cause as being physical by definition, like something that is actually physical. That's not really accurate in the philosophical literature. You can have a material cause that is not actually material. And we're also defining the universe as the totality of everything that is material, right? Or the totality of everything that's physical. So you put those together and you do get that the universe, by definition, cannot have had a material cause. And from there, the conclusion follows that the universe couldn't have had an efficient cause, given that it never had a material cause. But you still have to accept my first premise, which is that everything that has an efficient cause of its existence has a material cause. And the way that it's consistent with all of our experience. It's consistent with our intuitions. You know, if I just told you that
there is another thing that I think bolsters your argument that is actually for me a problem with the Kalam argument, and that is that if you do what people like Craig does and argue, well, there was no material cause, but there was still an efficient cause, and well, that's better than positing no cause at all.
Yeah.
The reason that they posit this creator, even though there's no material for it to create from, is because they need to get around the principle of ex nihilo nihil fit. Out of nothing, nothing comes. However,
which I don't agree with.
the
By the
only
way,
way they can get out of that is to argue creatio ex nihilo, which violates the principle of ex nihilo nihil fit.
Yeah,
you can't create out of nothing. So to have just an efficient cause but no material cause doesn't work anyway. And that's one of the two problems with divine creation.
Well, the problem I have with the ex nihilo is that in order to justify saying that out of nothing, nothing comes, we have to be able to understand the concept of nothing. And I don't think, as we understand nothing from a philosophical point of view, not from a scientific point of view, that we don't know what the properties would be. If there's going to be philosophical
nothing, have any properties.
Yeah, because think about this. There's no potentiality. There's no actuality. There's nothing to prevent anything from coming out of nothing. But there's nothing to make it happen either. We just don't know. So I think the phrase "out of nothing, nothing comes" is a nice idiom. It's nice, things that people say. But there's no logical standing for it. There's just none.
Exactly, because logic wouldn't apply, and I think that I understand what you're saying, but I think that kind of supports the idea.
It's not
a conceptual problem.
But it's not a logical problem. It's not. It's just the conscious that we say, "Hey, look, we want to be able to say there's nothing. There's nothing here. Something can't come from nothing." But there's nothing to prevent it from. There's nothing. There's no property of that system to say, "Hey, look, we're going to prevent something from coming from nothing." We don't know. We've never experienced what actual nothing would be.
I have some problems with almost everything being said, but that's just because
he's a science guy. Scott's philosophy. Your science is like talking apples and oranges.
I have some problems with what was just said as well, for what it's worth. I think I want to be careful not to. Sorry.
Nobody likes Steve. It's okay. We're all on the same
We
page.
hate you more, Steve.
Put them all out.
Okay.
They can't
Let him rip. Go ahead. Tear me apart. Go ahead.
The only clarification I was going to make was that in defense of Craig and those defending the argument, ex nihilo nihil fit or ENNF, they would say that it's not coming from nothing if there is an efficient cause. Now you can say that's bullshit, but that's why creatio ex nihilo by an efficient cause is purported not to be a violation of ENNF.
I think that's a cop out.
Yeah,
that's a cop out.
I have heard that, but my response to that would be, and this is the response I have given, is that if you had an agent that existed, so it isn't technically nothing, but for it to create something
John's
external
just shaking
to
his
itself,
head right out the gate.
Let's like say, look, I got this
for it
nothing,
to create
but I'm
something
be the
external
cause.
to itself, there has to be something else
I'm
external to itself.
I'm going to reach into this hole of nothing and I'm going to pull something out of it, right? It's like...
No, I agree with that, but...
That's Bugs Bunny.
But that's what it would be.
Steve.
That's exactly what they're talking about. That's what an efficient cause would be. Hey, here's nothing. I'm the efficient person, the agent. I'm going to go, hey, here's a universe.
Are you positively sure that God didn't masturbate the universe into existence, though?
Maybe.
Yeah, some theories are out there. This is why philosophy and
you
science.
say that like that's not actually in mythology regularly.
Scott, I know you're a busy guy. You answered my friend's question.
I know some people believe that sort of thing.
I really like the way you worded that with Cameron, though, and you got Cameron to think. And by the way, that's no small feat, dude.
well, the feat was. I don't get any credit for Cameron being, honest enough and thoughtful enough to come out and say that he changed his mind.
Yeah.
What gets credit is the fact that it was a phone call and not Twitter. And there was, and we made sure that it was not recorded. Yeah. So, in the privacy of a phone call, we get to change our minds because we're not performing, So
yeah.
By the way, we are live right now, but I like the way you put that. And the reason I like the way you put that is because when you really want to change the mind of somebody, right? Let's say like Scott and I were talking about something like morality or something like that. And let's say I did think that he may have some weird thing, or he thought that was a weird thing. I'm telling you, off air, we'd probably have a much better productive conversation. And that's what I prefer. I mean, Ozzy, Scott. The best conversations I ever have is sitting with Ozzy, just talking about stuff that we probably wouldn't talk about on air because we're sussing these things out. We're trying to actually have a dialectic, a synthesis, and so not trying to convince anybody, not trying to grandstand, which by the way I don't do, but You know what I'm saying, though? I think you're right on
we
that.
usually have conversation. Like, there's a difference between trying to have a conversation and change somebody's mind live versus trying to change somebody's mind in private. It's very hard to have the atmosphere appropriate in a public forum to actually have the discussion in a way that somebody's willing to be like, oh, well, you know what? You make a good point. And I would be nice for Non Sequitur to be able to create that forum. We'll do our best, but there's only so much we can do. Also, there's a super chat from Stupid Horror Energy for 10 that says, Scott, I love your argument about how the nature of God can just happen to be different, and therefore theistic morality is subjective. Do you still hold to that?
Oh yeah, that's not my argument. I mean, at least not that I'm sure people have been saying that.
Oh yeah, divine command
before.
theory is the same as ethical subjectivism to me.
Yeah, well, but it's not. It's not a response to divine command theory. I mean, the Euthyphro dilemma is a response to divine command theory, and then the response to the Euthyphro dilemma is to say it's a false dilemma because what is right and wrong doesn't come from God's commands. It's actually it follows from God's nature, and God's nature is necessary. And I just
you know what? I have a little pushback on that.
Would be necessary.
The way I understand from a theist perspective, again, I'll do a little internal critique. That divine command theory isn't what is good, what He commands. They will posit it is good that you obey God's commands. If God says this is what it is, what is the good is you actually obeying Him. I've actually had theists posit that.
Well, that's the difference between values and duties. So
I agree.
values are the good,
yes.
and duties are obeying.
See, he's a
Pretty sure we
guy.
tried to have that conversation with SJ a couple weeks ago, didn't we?
Did you watch him? Oh, did you watch Scott and SJ? By the way, you guys had a good conversation. Not going to front. You guys had a really productive conversation. Yeah.
Scott, do you feel like it was a good conversation?
I thought it was a pretty benign.
Yeah, it was kind of mundane, but it was good.
It felt like an interview. She didn't challenge me on anything.
She's SJ.
Yeah, I mean, she's a clearly very different, person when you're having a conversation with her.
Do you all follow Capturing Christianity frequently, or watch your videos frequently?
Nope.
If he has a lot of good content. I mean, he's developed a really, really good platform for facilitating conversations between really big names in philosophy.
So, and I was going to ask, did anybody watch the debate that he hosted between Craig and Graham Oppie?
Not only did I watch it.
It was just a few days ago.
Oh, no, wait. Craig, no, I didn't watch that one. No, I watched Malpass.
You're thinking of the Malpass one, yeah.
On the Malpass and the William Craig, I watched that, and I got to tell you, I was lost a little bit, and I contacted Alex, and I said, dude, walk me through this, because I want to write a blog on it to explain to people, what is the main contention between you and William A. Craig on it? And he wrote it off, and it took me 3 days to figure it out. And write in a blog about the modalities of it. Not easy stuff. And he's like, yeah, we weren't talking on a level.
We tried to have a stream talking about it after the fact, and we were like, we're not.
I was watching that as well.
What he's trying to say.
Not gonna front. That was very difficult, challenging.
Yeah, the one between him and Oppie is a little bit more palatable. It was a decent discussion.
I love Oppie.
Can I give Steve some pushback? Can I give Steve some pushback?
Yeah, of course. You don't want to block you.
I've been bugging you about getting Scott Clifton in here for ages, and the one time you finally managed to get him in here, I just got up from a nap, and I'm wearing pajamas.
I'm sure he cares.
And I hate you.
I didn't do my hair either for him, okay?
And I
hell?
will make a video exposing you every day for the rest of my life.
I didn't even flat iron for Scott, okay? What do you want?
I am wearing gray sweatpants.
Don't worry about it.
I'm so upset.
I wouldn't have noticed the sweatpants, I swear.
Yeah, I was going to say, you wouldn't have noticed the sweatpants if you didn't show up.
Steve, I'm wearing bottomless bottoms.
I'm a fan of sweatpants. I like the sweatpants. If you wore jeans, I'd be less impressed.
You know what they say about people that wear gray sweatpants.
I'm eating M&M's and it's Steve's fault.
Just remember, all he is Chris Pratt light. That's all we got to remember.
Also, Chris Pratt's short, too.
Is he?
No. Are you taller than Chris Pratt is?
No, I'm shorter. Chris Pratt's like 6'4" or something.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I thought he was tall.
Yeah, no, he's tall. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
I'm
6'4" is tall. What do you mean?
Why no? You're 5 foot. What are you? No, she's like 4'11", dude. Can you imagine her and Chris?
Are you really that short? Yeah.
She's that short. Yes.
You're short.
I'm 4'10.5", and I only say that half because it matters, because otherwise I would get disability parking.
So you're shorter than my future wife, who's pretty fucking short.
So Scott, if you want to be challenged, what when you do have some time, and Chester and I will have you back on for something. What philosophical topic would you like to be challenged on the most? Because we'll range or we'll get it. round table.
I promise I'll still wear sweatpants.
I don't. What do I want to be challenged?
Yeah,
Are
you asked for
you asking?
because you said she didn't challenge you. We'll give you a
Well, it
challenge,
seems
but
like
Oh, I got.
Oh no, well, I'm talking about
nothing.
SJ, not you guys.
Well, I
mean,
know,
I just thought it'd be interesting. It
we didn't
was
give you-
interesting that SJ didn't want to like argue with me. She
I don't
just
think she
wanted
knows how
to
to.
interview.
Yeah.
She certainly tries in tweet form. I mean,
Yeah, I think she's probably a little bit more confident in tweets because you can get away with a lot more. Of being
Scott, I'm not
wrong because
lying
it's
to you
like a
here.
short
You don't
area.
have to present details of your
Hang
argument.
on, this is what SJ did, Scott. SJ legit. Okay, SJ legit had an argument, which she made a mistake, and I think she just misunderstood William and Craig's argument. But anyway, she had an argument affirming the consequent fallacy. Right, so she had basically.
I remember this.
Yeah, and I told her, I said, look, SJ, this is a logical fallacy, and I showed her the logic as why. And her response was not like a normal person who would say, oh yeah, okay, we're done. Because once you show a logical argument is invalid, you're done.
Yeah.
No, she's like, well, but if you look at it this way, that way.
What was the argument?
Oh no,
Oh, I don't
that
know. It's
one.
whatever the
I'll go find it. Hold on.
But it was definitely affirming the consequent, right? I mean,
Was it a moral argument?
Yeah, it was something like, yeah, God,
Okay.
God
that
has
seems
It was
duties.
something like human beings. If God exists, human beings seek. You know.
It was seeking
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It didn't even
Oh,
follow.
with TGI Fridays.
She couldn't even turn into a modus tollens if she
the
wanted to, or modus ponens. It was just bizarre.
It was supposed to be modus ponens, but she affirmed the consequence.
Yeah,
I saw her present that in a debate. What was with? Was that with Tom? No, I don't think it was with Tom. Oh fuck!
Oh please, Scott,
She
never
presented
debates
it
Tom
in a
Jump.
debate with somebody, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But I do like SJ.
I like SJ too. I get along with great. But Scott, do you want to hear real quick Tom Jump's moral theory?
Sure.
All right. First of all,
I do not agree with it.
Make sure you might have something to drink on because you're going to need it in a second.
Yes. Let me crack another beer here, quick, Steve.
This is not exaggeration. This is not
Steve,
hyperbole.
you're a dick. You're a dick. We're
People-
going to
people's
inflict
heads
that
are gonna
on
explode.
him.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Tom Judd's moral theory. He calls it the involuntary imposition of will. And what this means is that something is immoral if it involuntarily goes against your will. It imposes upon your will. This doesn't matter.
Immoral or amoral? Sorry.
Immoral, not amoral. Immoral, which is a big difference because some things are immoral.
That's why I clarified.
So the way he describes this is if a rock fell off a cliff and hit you in the head, that rock would be immoral. Now, what?
Inanimate objects don't have agency.
Exactly. Rocks have no moral agency. They're not a moral. There's not something of what's called moral consideration.
Steve, hold on. I'm almost falling out of my chair. That means
the astrophysicist even thinks that's messed up.
Yes.
Hold on. Everything everyone does everywhere for whatever reason is immoral to someone else.
Yes, we're all. That's it. We're all immoral creatures. But yes,
The funny thing about T-Jump is I was actually watching a I think it was like 3 or 4 days ago, Steve. I was watching when he was on the Non Sequitur show. He was debating somebody. You were the only one moderating. Kyle's son was not.
Shocker.
He was doing something else.
Kyle was busy doing 95% of the
I didn't do anything on the
Tom
Non
had
Sequitur show.
mentioned
Ask
something
Kyle.
about that we don't even know as a fact that the universe is a closed system. And obviously, you didn't chime in until the Q&A, but you had pointed out that actually the universe isn't even considered to be a closed system. It's considered to be an isolation system. And he's just like, yeah, no, physics doesn't show that. And when I read that, I was just like, wait, what?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Was that who was discussing it? Was that Rick Delano that said that?
I can't remember who.
The
No, it
geocentric?
wasn't with him. You said you were going to have a discussion with Rick Delano again. If you do, I would very
I'm
much
thinking
like to be
about
a part
it.
of that.
I'm thinking
But
about it. So
because I
Scott-
do like Rick as a person, but there are just some honest questions I'd like to ask him. But I don't remember who T-Jump was debating there. Fuck, who was it?
Well,
Effectively, given
go ahead.
quantum mechanics, is there any such thing as a truly closed system?
Yes, the universe is a truly isolated system. But I real quick, I want to get back to the whole morality thing.
Isolated.
Closed and isolated.
Okay, isolated just means there's no energy, mass, or information that can be exchanged between the borders of the system. That's all it means.
As far as we know.
Now we're getting back into epistemology. Why do you guys do this to me when I'm drinking?
You should know this, Steve.
What am I, like Google? But
no, I mean you
I
should
want to get back to
know
rocks
that
having
you got to
morality because I
qualify
can't wrap my head around that.
Steve, can you check to see if there's any super chats that came in? I'm scrolling through SJ's feed.
Super Horde Energy. Cheshire, I caught a glimpse of your feet and now I want more. It's not that kind of strange.
Oh, well, you better go become a member on my channel
That's
because
her-
I
yeah.
made a special thing that's a stupid joke that I hope everybody actually gets.
And I'll tell,
that was very satisfactory.
I'll tell Scott the other thing that T-Jump argues. Okay, so on Hume's guillotine, obviously there's the is part, the descriptive part, and the ought. Hume's guillotine basically says that if you have an is, you can't get to an ought without a hidden premise, meaning that there's something has to be saying, okay, here's the thing that's descriptive about the morality. What is it that makes it a categorical situation where you ought to do something, right?
Okay.
And so Hume's guillotine always says that to get to an is or not, there's always going to be some kind of hidden premise between the two. But he actually resolved Hume's guillotine by saying, well, the reason we can resolve it is we don't worry about the prescriptive aspect of it. We just look at the descriptive aspect of it. And then I'm like, but then you're not actually saying anything. Sure, we have descriptive moral relativism. We can talk about descriptive morals, but the whole part of having morality is to prescribe what you should do in a given situation, whether you're applying deontics, archaic theories, or deontological or consequential, whatever it is. The reason why we have moral theory is to decide what it is for us to do that's considered to be moral. That's the whole point of it. And by saying, hey, Hume's guillotine is resolved because we just don't look at the prescriptive aspect of it, I'm like, T-Jump, you're an idiot.
Sorry about that, Steve. I keep hitting the wrong button when I'm trying to go back on a different app, and every time I'm just like, son of a bitch.
Does that even make sense to you, Scott, that somebody would try to argue that Hume's guillotine is resolved just because you just get rid of the prescriptive aspect of it?
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with that, so I guess I would want to understand what he's saying better before I said it's wrong.
I mean, good luck. It's T-Jump.
Right.
Yeah, he's like the atheist baiter from hell.
I'm not good at philosophy or, pretty much anything for that matter. And even I'm like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
Same.
I know somebody who's pretty literate philosophically, and they think T-Jump has some very interesting things to say. I don't know fuck all about T-Jump.
Oh, it was between Brian Wolfmuller and Tom Jump. That's who it was.
If you don't want to do it publicly, tell me who this philosophical person is, because I want to beat them.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have permission to say who it is, or it was just somebody who said that he's somebody on Twitter who interacts with all of us.
I think he means interesting as in like, what the fuck interesting.
Right.
No. I mean, he acknowledged that
because I'll tell you this,
because
he said it publicly. Alex goes into the Discord all the time with them, and I'm telling you, if T-Jump had gone against a flat earther in a debate, Malpass is going to be arguing with the flat earther. This is how bad T-Jump stuff is.
Clearly, we just need to introduce Scott to T-Jump and actually let him watch and actually analyze.
I wouldn't do that to Scott. I wouldn't do that to him.
Well, I mean, everybody enjoys a little bit of how
about this?
Awful. I play League of Legends. I mean, everybody wants some garbage in their life.
You want to burn down the internet? How about this? Scott Clifton, Darwin's deity.
Oh God.
Are you trying to like?
Who is Darwin's deity?
No.
Really?
No. He's a priest ever.
I'm telling you, he's got to happen. Scott can either sink or swim, man. Sink or swim.
I don't know who that is either.
And you're one lucky person not to know who this person is.
Basically, anything that you say, he's going to try to. He will either mute you or tell you that you're being not disingenuous. He says you're being deceptive.
Well, he's a presuppositionalist, and so he tries to make you question all your axioms. Well, how do you know that? Kind of thing. It's just a very dishonest way to do a discussion in philosophy.
Yeah, that was going to be my thing. It's presuppositionalism. It has to be the most dishonest position that you can take.
Well, yeah, because the presuppositionalist.
I think if Scott's going to come on to debate somebody, he should be the one to pick who he wants to talk to.
Right.
Oh, hey, he knows I got connections. Who does he want?
I'm not.
I know Cameron, but I mean, I've had Grant Oppie on. He's a great guy.
I'm not really like seeking to debate it.
Yeah, I know you're not debating. You're a conversationalist, man. You know what? Don't debate.
Why don't you put him up against Darth Dawkins?
Oh, fuck off.
I'm kind of kidding here. Well, the only reason I love to see that because I know the expression on Scott's face would be like, "Is this guy real? Is this guy serious?" No, come on, you're kidding me. You're punking me here. No, he legit. He has been for like 6 years doing this precept script, and it's just bizarre.
Yeah,
this is a Christian piece of
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's absolutely bizarro.
And he trolls absolutely everyone. He just shows up in people's chats and trolls
He
them.
tries to find the. Okay.
I don't think I've been trolled by this person.
He
yet.
tries to find the.
Oh wait.
Do you want help? I can set him up with you if you want.
He tries to find the most philosophically naive people, okay? Because we call these people philosophically white belts, right? People, and it's not a derogatory term so much. It's just the people that don't care about philosophy. They don't want to learn anything, right? And so he finds the most naivest people out there, and then he uses philosophy as a weapon rather than an educational thing.
Oh fuck me!
That's
I
what
hate people that do that. People that just intellectually flex.
Oh yeah, well yeah, no. I mean, look here. I'll scotch on the table. You know, I like Saiten. Saiten is a friend. However, I disagree with Saiten Brindicate immensely. But actually, believe it or not, he's actually a decent dude. He just really believes his bullshit.
Oh, Scott's been talking to J.K. Ricky. I didn't know that.
Who's J.K.
I
Ricky?
remember that guy.
Anyway, I'm going to head off because I've got to get some stuff done today before the day runs out. So it's been great
Thank you, Jen.
talking
We
with
love
you
you.
all.
We love you.
Peace out.
Love you guys.
So Scott, have you ever...
I'd like to catch up with you at some point, John. I'm actually planning a stream on my channel with astronomer Claudia Antolini. Dr. Claudia Antolini. She's agreed for that discussion. But I wanted to have I wanted to have a couple of other people in the chat as well, so we can talk a bit more about cosmology and.
Damn, I wish I was a professional.
So,
that sounds great.
So, I'd love to.
John knows his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. John knows his stuff, so if I can hit you up for that, that would be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Jen. We love you.
Did I tell you, Steve? I'm interviewing Dr. Karl Kruseniski.
Ooh.
Who? He says who? He's an Australian physicist who's he's kind of like our version of Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, I think I okay.
wow. Shit. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and he's coming up.
Well, yeah,
soon,
but I got a
so.
Kirsten Banks. So, Kirsten Banks.
Yeah.
She's just getting her PhD too. Yeah.
So,
sounds good.
We should probably get John
I'll hit you up
to
through
talk
Steve, John, when that comes up. If that's okay.
Oh yeah, have.
All right.
Peace out. It was nice meeting you.
Bye.
What are you saying, Chess? You want?
We should probably get John on to talk to Astronomy Live about the comet that's gone by recently.
That what you mean, Swan F8 or Atlas F3?
I think the Atlas one.
Yeah, the
Can I
Atlas
ask you a
one
stupid
is
question?
the one that broke up.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, go ahead. Ask a question.
Darwin's deity and Darth Dawkins are not the same person because I
They
always
are.
thought they were.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Okay.
Evolution Falls, Dancing with Hyenas. That's all his name.
He goes by Evolution Falls.
Well, yes.
Oh, does anybody know if he was ever on the app Pal Talk? Because
Yes.
there was definitely somebody with that name.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
from
I'll tell you
Paltalk.
what.
Yeah.
Pal Talk. Oh my God. It's a fucking shit show. I tell you
So,
what.
what do you think? Saiten Brunican is Scott then? I mean, would you want to talk to Saiten?
I have a rule with Sai. I'm not just gonna debate him because that's what he wants.
Yeah, dude, he's intellectually dishonest when it comes to pre-sub.
What we're trying to do,
But I
we should
happen
probably
to like
explain
him. I
this.
don't
We're not
know why.
we're not trying to set up debates on Non Sequitur Show. We're trying to set up discussion. So what we want to do is be like, you get 10 minutes to present what you're talking about. You get 10 minutes to present what you're talking about, and now we're going to discuss that thing rather than having a back and forth debate.
When is Non-Sec going to be up and running? Do you?
Well,
I don't
as soon as
want
the
to hound
lawsuit
you
gets
about it,
settled.
Steve, but I didn't know if you had an idea of when or if it's just whenever.
Well, the lawsuit has to. Kyle's been ordered to give me back the channel, and we're going to sue for.
We have to wait for the courts to
we're looking at
reopen. That's what we're waiting on.
judgment.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we have to wait for the courts to pick it back up. But the way we're
what
trying
did
to
you
do
just
this,
say?
we have to wait for the court.
$100,000 what?
Oh, I'm suing for $100,000.
Oh fuck yes.
So we
And the channel.
yes.
and the channel.
Didn't we
and
steal 60 grand from
yeah,
you?
but we get treble damages. So 30 times 3 is 90 plus court costs.
Yeah.
And plus punitive damages and plus future revenue. I'm going for the broke, man.
But there's nothing wrong with that because what he did is just.
Well, we've already got
just
approved for the
fucking
triple damages. The judge already
abhorrent,
said
but-
you get triple damages. You just have to figure out how much you.
Yeah. Because
But
what,
anyways-
what he
And-
did
yeah,
was just
now we're
abhorrent.
dealing
But
with a-
moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So,
Contempt issue,
so what
yeah.
we want to do is we don't want to do the debates like modern day debates do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's great platform. Don't get me wrong. I don't like
Thank
the way he
God.
moderates, but that's not what I was looking for. This is the way we did Non Sequitur Show. We had a very specific vision, and it's a shame that Kyle changed it. But the vision is that Chess and I want to go back to is we don't want to have the debates. What we want to have is discussions. And we're not just moderators. We're not just hosts. We are involved in the discussions.
Yeah.
I
And we
like
guide
that a
them.
lot.
I like.
Because
Yeah.
those ones got the most views. Those are ones that people want to see. And I'm not going to just sit there and pick my ass and let people do the work. You know, I'm engaged in these conversations.
You want to be involved.
We want to remove the giddish galloping. We want to remove the presentation of the debate style because it's got too many holes in it, and it doesn't really allow for that much Q&A and doesn't really allow for very much education.
Either. It's not a conversation.
There's no open dialogue in a completely formal debate structure. Right. It's just people pretty much talking at each other.
Look at Nephin Free when he debates. All he does is bloviate. Yeah. Look, if I'm going to have a discussion with...
I guarantee you, if I could get in an open dialogue with him, especially on some topics that we've debated before. Oh my god! Because I've met him numerous times on Pal Talk, so I know his tactics. I know his rhetoric, everything. For me, it would not be hard to
let me put it this way, Leo. If I'm going to have a philosophical discussion, and I want, like, for example, Scott, I'm going to talk to him about some particular topic. I'm not interested in debate. Because my goal is not to debate. My goal is to have a conversation, find out his position,
communication, and finding a middle line.
Exactly. And that's why I'm not a big fan of going on moderated debate, although I've done it a couple times. But the last time, you saw the comments. Like, Scott,
I did think your second debate with Snake was good, by the way.
Thank you. But if you read the comments, everybody was against me, not because I was wrong.
Well, because they didn't understand what you were saying.
They didn't understand what I was saying.
Steve's wrong because he's Steve, and that's that.
By the way, not one philosopher came up to me and said, "Man, but you really screwed the pooch on that." And by the way, Scott knows I know a lot of philosophers. Not one said that, and everybody that did it was like, "Well, why are they bitching at you, Steve? Everything you said was right." I'm like, because it's not a matter of being right on that forum. It's a matter of who they like. Yeah. And I'm not into that.
Yeah, that's right. I don't do debate.
Community is toxic. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I just want to have conversations and discussions because of the fact that I don't like confrontation, and most of the things that I end up talking about, whether it's my atheism or my veganism, it's still about controversial topics that is the core of people's belief system. So a lot of the times people feel like attacked that this person believes in something that's fundamentally different than what I believe in, and therefore I'm personally attacking them when I'm not. I'm attacking what they believe and why they believe it and how they got there, because I want to know. Maybe my position is wrong, but I don't ever know that if I'm not talking with people that disagree with me.
And that's why I get along with a lot of theists. Exactly.
And actually an honest conversation that is a discussion rather than I'm just trying to debate you, because debates have specific tactics that are a goddamn annoying nightmare.
And that's why I do I don't know if you know this, Scott, but I'm doing a new show, and it's with a guy named Dr. Fuzz Rana. I don't know. Are you familiar with him? He's from Reasons to Believe.
No, sorry.
Are you familiar with Dr. Hugh Ross?
Oh, that sounds familiar.
He debated Ken Hovind ages ago. But they're from the same group, Reasons to Believe. But anyways, they've offered...
I really hope he's known for not because he debated Kent Hovind.
That's how I met him. But I mean, but anyways, I'm going to be doing a show. It's going to be actually in West Covina, Fullerton. So I'll be in that area live in their studio. But it's going to be basically him as a believer. He's a biochemist, PhD in biochemistry. I'm going to be a non-believer, that layperson. And we're just going to be talking about these topics from very different points of views. One as a non-believer layperson, and one as a highly educated theist. And we're going to see where we meet, where we differ. It's called Agree to Argue. And we're going to be
Steve, when is this happening, man? I'm going to watch the hell out of that.
When is the official?
It starts in July. It was going to be sooner, but they were doing a set design.
Come on, man.
They were doing a set design, but they had to shut down RTB because of the CV-19. So all that got put on hold.
What if I pay you under the table to have it like in a week? I'll give you like some cash.
I can only hurry up so
much. Is it enough cash to
because
stop
he's my friend, he'll accept it.
But we are, John. You've been telling me for a year you're gonna subscribe to my channel and join as a member. You haven't done either.
I have been for over a year and a half. What are you talking about? I give you money every month as a Patreon, and I've subscribed. Dude, I'm like bleeding money to you, man. What are you talking about? I even give extra every once in a while.
I always get back to all my Patreons. I send them all messages. Wait, you're on my Patreon?
I was talking about the join. I was talking about the join thing, the main thing. But yes,
I've done that too, man. I've done all of it.
Did you? I don't think you did.
God has to go.
Oh, I know.
Scott, where you
Scott,
going?
yeah.
Scott's gotta go. Scott, you gotta stay, man. Get an orange or something.
Yeah, man.
Have an orange.
Yeah, you're in California.
If it makes you feel any better, Scott,
That
before
is
you
real life.
run, I didn't find the original from SJ. I haven't been able to find that yet, but I did find her correction on it, which says William Lane Craig's version of the argument for God from objective morality. 1, if God doesn't exist, objective morality doesn't exist. 2, objective morality exists. 3, God exists. That was the correction one.
Those
She made
premises have
the
problems.
original one.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, that's
That's why I started flying the finger around, because I tried to start something and it reset my scroll.
Super chat, Sarah, Superstore Energy $2. Scott, are you bottomless right now?
Oh.
Bottomless refers to alcohol. I got nothing.
All right, Scott, I know you're busy. I know you're going to go. We'll reach out to you again. We do these Rum and Cokes every so often. So if you get bored, I know everybody's like been homebound. Come join us. We have fun. These are great discussions. We just sit here and drink and just talk every Saturday or every other Saturday, unrelated to like non sequitur and stuff. But we're gonna get back non sequitur show eventually. The judge has already ordered it back to me.
Can't wait.
And we're gonna start up again, and we're gonna do it bigger and better. And
John, what the fuck are you doing?
It really sucks what
You
Kyle
can
did.
see me? I turned off the camera. You can see me?
Yes, I can.
He's making a Caesar.
Making a Caesar
You can
salad.
see me?
Yeah.
I turned off the camera. Hold on. The camera's on.
That's a heck of a
That's
Bloody Mary there, son.
That's a hell of a Bloody Mary.
Heck of a Bloody Mary.
I just saw him fucking with a
Bloody
plant,
Mary.
and I'm like, dude, what are you
I
doing?
got to eat some chlorophyll over here.
That's a great
do it every
to end on.
Right?
Yeah.
You might as well leave your
Thanks,
camera
buddy. I
on, right?
appreciate you coming in.
All right.
Good night.
Take care, guys.
Scott, it was nice meeting you.
Appreciate
Come
it.
back again.
Bye, guys.
Later.
When I'm not wearing pajamas, maybe, for fuck's sake,
It'll be
Steve.
all right. Chest on
Hey, Sarah had a question, man. I'm gonna treat Sarah right
It
because
was a super chat. We couldn't ignore it. If we
it's
wanted
Sarah,
to,
man.
like,
Hey, Sarah, did we not do you right? That's not a sexual thing, but did we not?
I'm just I didn't actually hear it, but I'm just pissed that we finally got him on, and I'm this great.
And by the way, so people that may not know that's Scott Clifton. He plays Dylan Quartermain on General Hospital, and he was on The Bold and Beautiful.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
He's a pretty popular
General
soap
no
star.
wonder
He looks like discount. What did you say it was?
Chris
Discount.
Chris
Chris Pratt. Yeah.
I am going to take
He literally does.
I know.
offense
It's
to that
pretty
because he
fucking
looks
cool.
way better than Chris Pratt does. I don't care what anybody else
I gotta
says.
admit, Scott's a good-looking
Oh,
guy.
Chash has a
I don't watch any of it.
I would probably go gay for him if I was lonely and drunk. And Manya wasn't.
I'm not even gay, but no, you're right. He's
I'm
cute.
not even
I mean,
gay,
shit.
yeah, but why not, right?
I'm sexual enough, or I mean, I'm comfortable enough
Yeah.
with my sexuality to admit if a guy is cute. I don't give a fuck what other people want to say.
Damn
And he's
right.
like-
See, thank you,
yeah.
Manya. Long hair, sexy.
Yeah, Steve's got a flow going on.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
just tried on my hair, so it's really curly today. But
John's just having a munch, and it's great.
I gotta tell you, Sweet Heathen brushing my hair is probably one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life. Telling you.
Sweet heathen. Does she eat celery ever?
I'm sure she does. Stupid Horror Energy, $2. Steve, I owe you a mug model for that. Oh, I've seen your modeling, and yes, you do, and I'll take it. Oh, I'm not gonna front. Sarah's a beautiful girl, and she's really sweet,
John,
very nice.
You look like a rabbit.
So
I've known Sarah
are you
longer than anybody
saying-
here, I think.
Are you saying you're subscribed to her?
Can we get John one of those hats that has like the hangy down bunny ears on it with the bunny hand sleeves?
Sarah used to be an
I like tomatoes.
Sarah used to be an activist back in the day.
Maybe next time I'll bring my rabbits up.
And Sarah had very unique videos on how she did her activism.
What
See,
kind of
even,
activism?
Even when I eat celery, I'm thinking of the quantum vacuum. I was gonna say Scott knows nothing, but it was a compliment, not the other nothing.
That's adorable.
If Scott knows nothing, then wouldn't he just be Jon Snow? I don't know if anybody
Oh,
else
you
is
know
thinking
that
of that.
thing, Jon Snow's a quantum theorist. That's why he.
No,
got
he's not.
elected
Jon
to
Snow's a
Lord
fucking
Command.
murderer, piece of shit. That's what he is.
So mad.
You sound mad,
banged in a
bro. You
cave
sound
then.
mad, bro.
What? I'm not. I ain't mad. I ain't mad. He's just a fucking
Not even
murderer.
mad. Not even mad.
I'm not even mad, bro.
Nah, bro, I ain't mad. What the fuck you talking about? I ain't mad.
He just had sex with his cousin. I don't know what you mean.
Oh,
I don't know who the hell you're talking about, nor do I, at
right?
this point, do I want to, I
I'm
don't
so
think.
lost.
I will drink out of my
You've never
smug.
watched Game of Thrones, Steve.
Oh, that's why. No, I only watched the first like 4 episodes of Game of Thrones. I couldn't get into it, so whatever. Dagny.
I watch about 30
I think you
seconds
should try
of it, but I
again.
know more than Steve does on it.
Only if you watch the first 6
minute-
seasons, because the last 2, well, the 7th was all right. The 8th was.
Yeah, I never
I
got
kind
into
of
it.
treat the Game of Thrones the same way I treat the third Banjo-Kazooie game. What third Banjo-Kazooie game?
Oh, you mean like Highlander 2? That never happened.
I don't know.
I lost faith
Are you
in
really
the
eating
show as
celery,
soon as
John?
as soon as
After
they killed off Daenerys' dragon, like because of that Night King.
No spoilers.
I lost my faith in that show because what they said all the time, the directors and the producers, they were going on like, oh, dragons are very intelligent. Oh yeah, fucking it couldn't escape a spear in the ear, for fuck's sake.
I think she should have lost one of her dragons, but not 2 of them.
Spoilers.
Yeah. And like, for example, for someone who kind of incited the slaves, which was a political move to take over a city, to go on a rampage.
My God,
after
Maya's
that.
really into this shit, ain't she?
Like
Good.
it's so illogical. Like
So, Manya-
she knows politics. She knows the
Who,
politics.
Danny?
She wasn't Marine for F's sake. She knew politics. She knew that there will always be people who will support her, and then she has to protect the people who are against her. And,
I think Daenerys knew politics, but did not know war. That was her problem.
Yeah,
you
but
guys-
still,
you
but
guys-
Cersei was playing basic politics with her, and I think so. What
Yes.
happened there was that as soon as Daenerys saw that there was a contender for the throne, she just lost all her confidence, and Jon Snow came out as Aegon Targaryen, and he was male, so he was a contender for throne. And as soon as he came up, she just lost all faith in herself. So, but that's not a reason for someone to go on a rampage.
Manya,
Goddamn patriarchy.
I think that you missed some really important parts.
Well,
and-
number one, I think Daenerys' confidence started to slip first when she came to Westeros, but nobody really cared about her.
Leo, calm the fuck down. You just talked right the hell over John. Let him go. Jesus.
Oh, there might be a delay in my mic. Sorry.
Leo, I'm sorry. You could speak. I just want to say one thing, and I appreciate Manya's input. I just wanted to say, with a very kind-hearted personality, that she glossed over some really important things. Daenerys suffered extreme loss throughout her life, but she's able to rise above it. And the thing that really made her become unhinged, and it's something that I think really came through on the screen that I think we might lose whenever we eventually get to read the book, is she became mentally unhinged. Like, they did the shot of her
When?
in
Exactly when?
in the last season when hold on. So it was after her best friend and confidant is beheaded in front of her.
No. Listen, the whole conflict started even before that.
That
Because
was
she
the
knew
straw that broke the camel's back, and she decided that when she said earlier that she's going to break the wheel, she meant even the innocents are going to go with it, because now she's just like completely, she's like, fuck it, like everyone's just killing, no matter what I do, people I love die, lost Khal Drogo and my son. They did a shot. No, you can actually read about this.
I saw that shot that she what's her name? What's the chick's name? Her confidant, right? She was Missandei. She was made to stand on top of the castle, and she's standing there, and Daenerys was like, okay, what's happening? She had requested the release, I think, so she had requested negotiations, but they were denied something. So she denied them, and she publicly executed Missandei. And Missandei, before dying, said, okay, fuck it. She said Dracarys, and Danny was like, okay, yes, sis, it's gonna be Dracarys.
I have a question. What the fuck are you talking about?
I want to go into.
I still want to add some input.
All right, so
I want to make sure that if we're going to talk about cinematography, we need to make sure to get JM Truth in here to make sure we understand it properly.
I'll be right back.
All right.
No, I chased him away with the JM Truth comment.
Yeah, I can't do
Leo, go ahead.
I can't do the GOT thing, man. I don't know fuck all about GOT.
Well, maybe if you would just start watching it. Well, what I was trying to say was that I think that Me personally, I don't think Daenerys ever went mentally insane. I think she just let her anger take control, and it was kind of an anger slip. It wasn't a transition to mental instability.
Episode burning of one whole city.
Is she the one that has sex with her brother?
Huh?
No.
She didn't have sex with her
No,
brother?
it's her cousin.
Yeah. No, that was
Daenerys is the young long.
Well, yeah, Daenerys had sex with her cousin, but she didn't know that it was her cousin at
Oh,
that
it makes
time.
it so much
Of course,
worse.
for
Okay.
her, she didn't really ever care because incest was a huge part of the Targaryen family line.
Oh yeah, it is like brothers and sisters marrying and carrying on the lineage. But are you talking about Jon Snow?
Yeah.
Cousin thing? No, Jon Snow is her nephew.
That was her nephew. Yeah.
Yeah, Jon Snow is the nephew.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, and the thing is there that because I think so. She started losing faith in herself, and she kind of kept the secret to herself that because she didn't believe in her subjects that they will have confidence in her after if it was really revealed that Jon Snow is Aegon Targaryen.
And would technically have been the true heir to the throne.
We have considered starting a book club / movie club, or one or the other. If somebody else wants to set the hell up, because I ain't got fucking time for that shit. I think that'd be a great idea.
But the one idea I wanted
Listening
to add
to people making excuses for lazy writing sounds like people defending the Bible. Jeez.
Yeah, it was lazy writing. It was definitely lazy writing. I think so
in
because
the 8th season?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was rushed. It's not that the content was necessarily bad, but that should have been content that played over at least another
rushed.
2 seasons.
And I think so because HBO had decided it wanted to start something new, so they told the producers and the directors, okay, wrap it up, boys. You're not getting any other time slots. So they had to do it in a way, and Daenerys became the slaughter goat.
Yeah, they just decided to make her the villain. I wonder if I don't think that it's going to play out the same way as it did in the television adaptation, obviously, as it will.
No, the books are much
when George Martin writes the books, but I still believe that Daenerys will probably end up dead, and that a Stark will probably still end up on the throne. I think that's why those two things were in the series, because George probably confirmed that those are two elements that will be in the book.
Super chat.
How it plays out might be different, but those two elements will be
Super chat. Stupid Horror Energy, $2. John Kroon found more celery.
No, it's even better. Look, it's parsley.
Oh shit!
Are you like?
All right, somebody take the herbs away from fucking
I was gonna say,
Guam.
like, you having a chlorophyll deficiency or something?
If I told you the answer, you'd be freaked
so
out.
basically, you're basically a rabbit in human
There's
form.
There's no deficiency. There's just me, baby.
Are you okay? You're not dying?
He's a Hinyokai.
Get some sunlight.
He's from D&D.
I don't like
he's a Hinyokai.
This is the problem with astronomers. They only go out.
He's
Hang on. This is the problem with astronomers and astrophysicists. They only go out at night. They're never in the sun. They need vitamin D.
Well, Steve, I will tell you this much. So I just had a big dinner, but it was like 6 hours ago, and I don't have any other food. And we live in this crazy new
eating
society.
rabbit food?
And no, hold on. And so I was like, God damn it, I forgot to put some of the stuff in the scolio that I made tonight. And so I was like, the things I forgot to add to my meal, I'm just gonna eat raw. And so I just
There's a
thought
method to this madness. There's a method
I'm
here.
hungry. So
I'm telling you.
You know what? That kind of makes sense, actually.
It's green.
He's a Hinyokai, man. Hinyokai are half animal.
By the way, you just
humanoids.
You just triggered Smitty by eating on camera. Smitty's gonna like lose.
One of them in the book is a rabbit. There's a rabbit Hinyokai.
Oh, cool.
Smitty has this weird phobia, like people eating on camera.
Well, that's interesting since he follows and subscribes to me, and I do that shit constantly.
Yeah, and he gets on you every time.
It's good though.
That's okay. It's Smitty. He's allowed to get on me.
Ooh, wow. Didn't see that one coming.
Okay.
Smitty, John is dead, but
and Saturday, May 12th, where the hell the day 16th, Cheshire sexually harassed Smitty.
There you go.
I saw it first, Steve.
Yeah.
I saw it first.
All right, Smitty, I will be your witness, and we'll run with this for a few years. He
Tomorrow we're going to be having crossover at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to swing by for that,
Josh lives in Canada, doesn't he?
We're gonna, dude. And we're gonna have we're going to be doing the last 30-ish questions for atheists out of 100. So that'll be hilarious. And then I'll be working on setting up the next set of questions because that person made another video that I was like, well, we have to do this one, and that's going to be 100 questions for Globers.
And by the way, no, this is not May. This is actually March '86. That's the.
Are you bringing atheists on for that 30 questions for an atheist?
We've got. We have a set. We've got. I didn't actually know what everybody's point of view was, or like the specifics of their point of view, but it turned out that most of them were actually atheists. Yes.
Can I tell you something funny that happened to me today? I actually was. I'm in the. I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups, and in one of the groups, they people say this every so often. One of the persons were like, you know what? If you want to know what the atheist believes, you should ask an atheist. I'm like, really? Really? It's like it's like if they're so predictable. It's like, stop this. It's like your creationist level. Just stop. You're just like a young creationist, just spewing shit out there. It's like I haven't talked to atheists before. I know what the fuck atheists believe. I know. I mean, I give a general understanding.
That was really funny when that Kyle guy told you about Jesus.
You want to know what Christians believe? Ask Jesus.
Is that what your God Jesus would do? Is that the way you behave?
Sarah wants to know how to buy one of these smugs. Cheshire has that information.
Cheshire, did you put the link
this
up
is a smug
in
army.
the chat?
I did. I will get it again though.
That's you on the mug, Steve, or is that fucking
that's
Jesus?
Me. No, that's me. That's Cheshire
well,
drawing.
That's his long hair.
Cheshire made me look like Jesus with no eyes. I love my smug.
The Cheshire drew that.
Yeah, seriously. This is our smug from the.
Cheshire's very good. You should check out her art.
Cheshire, what's your YouTube channel?
I will link you. It's faster.
Oh, I like to be linked.
My grandparents.
He likes to be linked in.
I'm subscribed. Steve, I also noticed that in like.
All right, hang on. You guys are talking over each other. It's weird. I don't know if there's lag, but let Rez go first. What's up?
I was just gonna say, my grandparents actually asked why I had Jesus Christ on my smug.
Ah! Wow, this is why people think I'm a narcissist, because I'm comparing myself to Jesus now. All right, Manya.
Oh, I'm just telling John, like, be prepared to find me like screaming in one of the videos.
No, that was your Pornhub video. Fun. That's a different.
Oh god.
Domain. Oh yeah.
That was bound to happen.
Helios, $5. Is the next set of actual 100 questions or 10 questions reworded 10 times like the current set of 100 questions? Which, by the way, probably is okay.
Why do you hate Jesus?
Oh, that hot butt. Cheshire, I see this first video.
So you see that butt that looks like it had a stroke?
Yeah, 2 hours, 13 minutes, 10 seconds.
Jess, what is your favorite?
That's our show called That Time of the Month, where it's me and Manya and Sweet Heathen and once all talking about woman stuff mostly. Then there's Crossover, which is newer, where I'm just pulling in larger and smaller YouTubers to like just talk about various topics. This was the first one we did. And then if you kind of scroll down a little bit, there's speed paints. So if you do want to see art, there's a bunch of speed paints in there.
So let me ask you a question, Jess. What was your favorite question for atheist?
Why do you hate Jesus?
Isn't that a loaded question?
That's rather stupid.
Yes, because the best one was okay. So it was: do you believe that Jesus existed? What's your proof that Jesus didn't exist? Why do you hate Jesus? That was the series.
I don't get why so many atheists are Christ mythicists.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm a historicist.
It just doesn't make fucking sense.
I have a very different view on that. There might have been a guy named Jesus, and he might have been a good guy, charitable guy who helped people, but then he got carried away when he started claiming that I'm the son of God and blah, blah, blah. And then the Romans were like, okay, this is like shit and he's trying to act against the state. And then he got crucified for that. And all that walking on water shit and, multiplying the food and shit, that was just like put in there to give him.
So why do you hate Jesus then?
I don't hate him. He might have been a very good
Just
charitable
remember,
guy.
she's Hindu. She hates everything Christian.
Yeah, I'm a pagan. Welcome to my world, bitches.
One of the questions that they asked.
Naughty boy.
What's
One of
up?
the questions
You got
that they
a
asked
Spyro on
was, why do you give Muslims a free pass? Like, why do you bully Christians? It's like, what the watch the videos, man. The questions are hilarious.
Just because Christians just don't know anything about atheism.
Well, okay, so real quick.
Most Christians, I should say.
Chess, I'll get with you on that because one of the segments we want to do on our Agree to Argue are bad atheist and bad theist arguments. We're gonna tackle both. Yeah, sure. And so,
there's so many on both sides. I could give you as examples. So
maybe find
many.
what you think are some of the best on both sides, and we're gonna tackle them head on because some of these arguments are just really, really bad.
I mean,
really bad.
Yeah, this person was
really bad.
This person was kind of making arguments with their questions, but it was mostly just like from a very biased place.
But when you ask somebody why do you hate something and you don't even know what they do, that is
Right.
a loaded question.
Well, okay, yeah, but they were trying to list out all these questions, so they were preempting what the answer might be. So here's a follow-up question to that answer. But like, but it was all really one-sided. It was all really like it seemed to me to portray that this particular person thought that or thinks that atheists hate Christianity or hate God, or there's some kind of malice in there somewhere. And that's
no malice.
Who hurt you?
Well, they have to paint it that way. That's the whole thing.
John, show me where Jesus touched you on the doll.
No.
Right?
Why do you hate Jesus?
Yeah, nice piece of celery.
He touched you in the celery.
I don't hate Jesus.
I don't want
That was
to.
very phallic of you, man.
Hey, Steve,
Asking me why I hate.
I don't want to eat any more celery or parsley. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna put it away. I wish I had a tomato.
You need something red. You need to break up the color scheme. It's all green. You need some yellows and some.
Well, because this is Steve. You don't know what I got going on, man. Call me tomorrow. I'll give you a video tour, man.
Nice.
Now we're talking.
I was expecting more. Hey, Steve, come over. I'll make you dinner. We'll have,
Steve, I bet you there's gonna be a
I would be so happy if John explained to us in great detail what he made for dinner tonight.
Oh, I would love to.
I would be so happy.
Can I get a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
Love that.
So I started. It took 3 days to make. Like I don't mess around. Like I was on this. So I'm like on my mother's side. I'm like all Italian, and it's something that I really connect with. I learned Italian in college, and it's just a beautiful culture, beautiful food, and anyway. So I decided to make a seafood pasta, sort of Reggio Calabria style, southern Italy, with some Sicilian sort of overtones in there. And my Grandpa Hank, if you're watching this, how's it going? Shout out to you. Thanks for the book. He sent me this book. Is like huge, this huge, heavy hardback book with all kinds of recipes, and I already had it in my head that I was going to make seafood pasta. So I started making sort of a tomato-based pasta sauce from scratch. I went to the store, I bought tomatoes on the vine, like a whole bunch of them, and I cored them. And I skinned them and I mashed them up into a big saucepan, and you just add like water, a little bit of salt, a little sugar, and on really low heat, and you simmer it, and let the water boil off. You add more and smash it some more, and then you add black pepper and oregano, smash it some more, and by the time you're done, like a few hours later, you got something that really looks like a sauce, and you got to let it sit for like a day or two. I did about a day and a half of marinating in the fridge. Then I went and bought clams, mussels, and 51 to 60 count shrimp, and with the skin still on, the shell still on. And then I bought Louis Jadot vintage 2018 Masson Villager Chardonnay.
Now you're just showing off.
I went and got some fresh shallots, a Spanish onion, and a clove of garlic, and some pure like real Irish butter, and I made a butter wine reduction and sauteed the onions. After they've started to become translucent, I added the finely minced and crushed garlic.
Hey, John. John.
Yeah.
Will you marry me?
Yeah, man.
Don't interrupt, Steve.
You cannot ask that question.
I'm just getting to the really good parts. I'm getting to the really good part. This is what I do for fun.
And
When I
there's
get real
more.
serious, when I'm having a girl over for date night, I put in even more thought into this shit. Like, this is just me fucking around. And censor that. I'll be a beep. Anyway, so then you got to keep in mind that the clams, oysters, and shrimp, they have different cooking times. And also you want to have different reductions. You want to make sure you strain and keep the juices from one to the next. And so I had to get like 4 different pans out in my colander and 3 different bowls, and I only have 3 square feet. That's less than a 1 square meter, folks, and that's metric too, so you know I was pretty upset about it. So I didn't have enough space to put all these bowls and pans. What you're going to want, I'm almost done, what you want to do is start slowly heating up the tomato sauce. Once you've started to saute the julienne onions and minced garlic with the butter white wine reduction, then you're going to want to cover and heat the mussels, throw away the ones that don't open, 4 to 6 minutes. I even used an atomic clock in Boulder, Colorado to make sure I wasn't like getting loopy over here. And so I had science on my side. And so if it came out bad, I could blame Boulder's atomic cesium
Who needs
clock.
God in anime when you have science?
Or John Crone. And then I added the clams after I transferred the mussels to a bowl, and I saved half of the broth and I poured the rest down the drain because it's too much because they were frozen. And then you do the clams, same sort of story, and you just keep compiling it. I could send you pictures, or you could go to my feed, not YouTube, another one. And then you got to do the shrimp. These are you got to very carefully do those. You don't want to overcook them. Luckily, I wasn't doing scallops because those get rubbery if you overcook them, but I'm more than capable of slamming a scallop dish. And then by that time, I had the onions, garlic, white wine, and butter reduction booming. Fucking booming. I put that in the sauce, which is now boiling and simmering. Give it a good stir. Put in the shrimp, the mussels and clams, stir that up, put on some size 17 linguine cooked just within a skosh of al dente, and put a chunk of butter in there and some olive oil to keep them from sticking. Then I pour in all the sauce and they go bam, bam, and eat the hell out of it. And then 3 hours later, I realized that I forgot the freaking celery and parsley. And now we've come full circle.
John, do you realize? Do you realize real quick that Cheshire just lost her panties? They're gone.
Okay, no, all right, listen. I was joking. I was joking when Scott Clifton was here about being embarrassed that I was wearing pajamas. Now I'm actually embarrassed because that was amazing.
That was food porn like we've never seen before. That was
the sexiest thing I've heard in months.
Can I put a video idea
that
out
worked
there?
for me.
Cooking with Chesh and John.
There you go.
So happy. I would be so happy.
So John, by the way, did you have a girl come over for that tonight, or?
But that was just me, baby.
Wow. So
yeah, that's what he was saying. That was just him messing around, man.
I'm telling you, I would date this motherfucker in a heartbeat.
I got cock blocked by Rona.
Me too.
Yeah.
Ironically, you want to know the truth, John? The funniest thing is, I have somebody that I used to date that I met on Plenty of Fish. Cheshire knows this. I have somebody that I met on Plenty of Fish years ago when I first moved to this area, right? And we went out a few times, and she was really nice, and we hooked up. Well, she moved just recently, like 2 miles from me. And and she called me up the other day. She messaged me on Facebook because I've kept in touch with her. We've been friends. And she's like,
Steve's turn to brag now after that.
Yeah, but she's like, hey, because I'm COVID, blah blah blah. She's like, you want to like hook up kind of thing, and I'm like, I haven't seen you in like 5 years. I'm like, not really. I'm like, no, but I appreciate the offer. Yeah, no, of course I turned it down. No, but I'm like, I'm like, if you want to hang out, we have a drink or something. I'm cool with that. But I'm like, I'm not interested.
Steve has the problem that the Zohan had.
What's that?
The Zohan.
Women throwing themselves at you.
You don't mess with the Zohan.
No,
not
women
kidding. 3 miles.
It's
exactly 3 miles that way.
I love that movie.
That she moved, and I had no idea. And I'm like,
I think John and Rez got my joke.
But yeah, the COVID
Yeah,
thing. People, chicks are getting desperate when they're like, "Oh, hey, I dated this guy 5 years ago. You want to hook up?" I'm like, not really. I'm like,
Also, still not the joke that I was making.
I don't know your jokes. I don't get you.
I know. It's okay.
We live in a different world.
Apparently.
I'm still thinking about John's food. It's like really.
See,
What do
can
you
we
think
bring up
I'm
the
thinking of?
pictures? Can we put
Yes,
the pictures up?
yeah. Do you
They're
have
much
where
better
they
than
at?
my
Where they
description.
at?
Did you get
So
pictures?
I have an Instagram. That's the
Instagram.
go to my Instagram,
took pictures of this?
John.crone21. I just posted it for my
okay.
mom, pretty much, but you guys can see.
Yeah.
For real though, I would watch a video with Chesh and John cooking.
Right?
Yeah.
I would be
As
all
long as they
over
make
that.
out at the end, I'm cool with that. That'd be like,
Concrete 21.
Just
I
doing this
found
on-
you. I found you.
Do you? I don't
Oh
even know
my
what.
god, I found it. Hold on. I'm
You
gonna
found
follow.
it? Let me
found
see.
it.
Can you screen share? Because I'm
following you.
lazy and I'm
Yeah,
buzzed.
I'm presenting. That's the whole reason I pulled it up. What do you mean?
The reason I was laughing while John was explaining that whole thing too, I was just watching Chesh's face.
What happened?
Right? And she's just like,
What happened?
oh damn.
Oh.
Is this the right picture?
Yeah, keep going. There's a couple other
I'm
ones.
gonna have like a
That's the
TV
best
dinner
one.
tonight, probably.
That's before
Look
the
at
Parmesan.
that.
Damn.
I'm hungry now.
Right?
That's size
It's
17.
the prawns. We're
yeah,
gonna know it's the prawns. We're gonna get kicked out.
I'm telling you what I am making dinner tonight for myself because I'm starving, and I'm making a dish that I told Chess about the other day, but I'm adding one ingredient to it. So Chess, you remember what I told you I was making the other day? It was corned beef.
Listen, I'm distracted right now. I don't need to hear you looking at this.
This is my cooking. Corned beef hash with pork chorizo with bacon.
Bacon.
I forgot the bacon last night. I didn't have the bacon. Now I'm gonna put bacon in it tonight, and I'm gonna have chorizo, corned beef hash with bacon in it, and it's gonna be good.
After John's little thing,
what do you want?
Hearing what you just said is the most boring thing
Right,
imaginable.
Hey, look! What do you? This is why I don't get laid often. What do you want?
I put some peanut butter on it.
Bacon.
Well, I'm getting
Everything goes
hungry,
better with
and I think
bacon.
I'll probably
Yeah.
just up
I got
some
leftovers too.
quick sweet potatoes.
You're making me hungry, showing me my.
Oh, food bombing.
It's like a
bombing,
reflex.
as Costa said.
So I have
Is there
other
anything else you want me
pictures.
to show? Yeah.
Sarah bought the
Well,
mug.
my whole feed is pretty.
I didn't
pretty
know- I
cool.
didn't know
There's
we could
my
still sell
first
the
ever
mug.
Milky Way picture. I just took that
Oh, wow.
two nights ago.
Gorgeous.
And then we got some other nebulae and stuff in there.
That's what turns me on.
This one's really nice looking.
Oh, dude, he's pro on the photo shit. He's not dicking around.
I have a YouTube
I've
channel
seen
called
his-
John's Astrophotography.
I've
It's
seen his
pretty
equipment.
simple.
It's massive, man. He's got some
I
massive
play
equipment.
piano.
What brand is your equipment through?
So that's my baby right there. That's my Explore Scientific. My other ones, they would carry me. I couldn't
wow.
carry them.
That's
And so, what, Steve?
You've got some massive equipment.
Yeah, I have a 14 and an 8
He's got a
inch.
14 incher.
And an 8 inch. I don't go lower than 8.
Who does?
That's what I bring.
Yeah.
And,
She brings 8
I want to start a piano channel.
I
too.
would kill. I swear to God, I would kill for a clear
That's so
sky
cool.
and a 12-inch reflector telescope or Dobson or whatever. I don't care. Just 12-inch aperture that had clear skies, and I could point it. And then by the way, I can do the electronic shit nowadays. Like that's so much easier. But oh my God, I would have an orgasm.
Do we know whether or not Beetlejuice is still?
Beetlejuice is never going to blow up. It's got another 100,000 years to it.
You think so?
It's all hype. It's just
Ooh,
there's just
this
dust.
is-
It's the only reason they had oculation is because there's dust in front of it. That was it.
Oh yeah, that was broiled leeks on organic lettuce and sautéed shiitake mushrooms and garlic on a sirloin steak.
Sarah, super chat, $5. Wait, how about the cosmological constant? If it was slightly higher, would there be no galaxies? And who's that hot chick in the blue? That'd be vegan atheist Curl. Her name's in the bottom there, who we adore.
Yeah.
By the way, she's hands off. We're only allowed to. But
Spinach, red onion, lemon.
Sarah can borrow you.
Yes, yes.
Sarah, you got good taste,
food?
Sarah.
Mm.
We love vegan.
I forgot about this. This was a good one. That was years ago. No, 25 weeks ago. Oh yeah, then the moon. We go from like food to
You've
the
added
moon.
cheese to
So-
your
so by the way-
you've added cheese to your meal.
So a young Earth creationist told me my value was off for Beetlejuice. It's actually about. It's got tens of thousands of years left to go. I mean, it's got a long time.
It's roughly
Okay,
100,000.
when do you think it's going to blow? I mean, you obviously can't
So
predict
Steve,
it, but-
do you know? Oh wait, hold on, Cheshire, go up. There's a picture left. Go left with the trees and the pasture. I took that with my drone. I'm a drone enthusiast.
hot.
Look at that.
Oh, that's
That
cool.
was
I saw
last
Pleiades
fall.
too.
That was from 600 feet above the ground.
Kawasa
And
says-
I have a question. I don't want to know specifically where you live, but a generalization of where you are.
well, at least
Leo,
where
can
this
you-
picture was
Leo,
taken. I'm
Leo,
near
hang on.
DC.
Leo.
These pictures were
Leo,
out west. from
You're
DC
bumping your
area.
mic, man.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'll
What
stop.
is he doing? I don't want to know.
He's food
on my
porn. I mean,
phone,
don't judge, man. The guy's getting excited. He's seeing your pictures and he's really enjoying them a
No,
lot.
I want to cook with you. I need to know about where you are to know if it's
Yeah,
possible if we can hook up and cook.
I would love that. Yeah, I live near DC. Are you far away?
I'm in Ontario. I'm near Toronto.
So I'm if you go south, you get to me. I'm just below you.
So, John, how long do you think until Beetlejuice blows?
So here's the thing. Can I have just like a quick little rant about
Yeah,
that?
as long
It's
as I
been really
do
annoying me.
Yeah, but let me do the super chat first. Kawasa,
Okay, let's do super chat.
why are people hyping about Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice. When there are collision course with Andromeda, which is going to be what, another 2 million years, 2 billion years? I don't know, fucking, it's a long time.
4 billion.
4 billion years, some shit like
4 to
that.
5.
All right, John, go ahead. Do your rant.
All right, so here's the thing. You know how like a media works. It doesn't matter if it's social media, if it's like a news outlet, you want to push the story, boom,
Correct.
boom, push
Yes.
that shit, shove it down your throat, get ratings, get exposure, spread your shit, and that
Man,
is.
this went dirty pretty quickly.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one of you would say that. I was hoping
Me, of
someone would.
course, yeah.
But Steve, let me just say that this whole Beetlejuice thing, and it's just like, why all of a sudden is I mean, if you look at the numbers, the spike in the number of Twitter and other social media venues, a following of just the average Joe and Jane was massive, and a part of me loved it. It was like cool, like people are like tuning in, like they're learning about science, or maybe not so much, but just being aware of it.
Yeah.
And the problem was that scientists, like legit astrophysicists and astronomers, like we already know that stars of very high mass that go through phases after they've gone through most of their the main sequence hydrogen burning, where they are a variable star. And you can have two different types of variability. There's intrinsic and extrinsic locality. The intrinsic is like a Cepheid variable, which of course Betelgeuse is not, where you're having cyclic oscillations, changes in state, where you have the star get larger, and then it blows off of this energy, and then it shrinks until this contraction, just this cyclic thing, Cepheid variables. But then, and that's a whole nother talk, but to move on, then you have stars that are quasi-periodic oscillators, similar to if you guys ever study black holes and you get remember QPOs? Same sort of thing, only with stellar nucleosynthesis. And you have these phases where it's brightening, and it could be days or weeks or months, and then it dims back. And it's very unstable, and it's not periodic. It's not so regular. Exactly 3.24 weeks. 3.24 weeks or whatever it is. It's quasi-period. It could be 4.8 weeks and then 8.6 weeks, and you know what I mean. But that's not what's happening with Betelgeuse. Not entirely. There is an envelope of obscuration material. You have gas and dust that it has blown off its surface. Because remember, this thing is so freaking huge that the gravity on its effective surface is so low that just the radiation blasting off from underneath is enough to lift stellar material off. And it's been doing this for millions of years, at least hundreds of thousands of years. And so you have this envelope of dust and gas, mostly gas, that that has gone far enough away to reach the ice line for its molecular state, where it recombines. You have molecules like hydrogen and cyanide and CO2 and all kinds of stuff that combine with matter that was already there to make other molecules that are more optically thick to the light it's throwing off. And it's very blotchy and patchy, and this thing is co-rotating in a Keplerian sense with Betelgeuse. And so when you have just a particularly large patch of stuff rotate into our field of view, because remember, the line of sight between us and Betelgeuse is so narrow in terms of angle, we're talking like milli-arc seconds or less, that it doesn't take much for this stuff to roll into our field of view, and our perceived photometric brightness of Betelgeuse goes down drastically and suddenly, which is kind of what happens in some stars before they go supernova. And so it was just a firestorm, a media firestorm. They just took and went in this other direction with it, and people took the bait. And then when it started,
I talked to you about it, and I believed you, and I didn't, and I was like, "This is hype."
Yeah, they were just hype, and so I was like, "Cool, people are taking notice, but maybe for the wrong reasons." And I knew what was going on.
Yeah, they're not going to walk outside and see people just go.
I was like, no,
I'm gonna take off.
Yeah, we're gonna be ending it soon.
This has been fantastic.
This has been one of the more fun Ern season in a while. So thank you guys.
I want to leave everybody with Dave Visco, a tweet that he put out that says, "I just read in a story, quote, she was small-breasted, intelligent, and capable, end quote. I have yet to read, quote, he was tiny-cocked, elegant, and available, end quote, anywhere." Have a good night, guys.
Sexism.
Great.
Good night, Jess. All right.
Good night.
You know what? We'll do the res rhetoric thing. Say what you got to say and get the F out. Because this was fun. This was like really enjoyable, and it was really cool to have Scott come in and do his kalam. It's great to have Dr. Kroon come in and talk astrophysics stuff, because we don't get a chance to do that often. So we're when he gets more available, we are in. By the way, we're going to be having some science stuff. I want to do the whole thing on the math stuff when he has time. And by the way, I really want him to do more of the math stuff. I want him to come in, and you guys got to see his photos. Oh my God, they're gorgeous. It's like they're almost not even real because they're so. It's like, shit, how is that really like what we're looking at?
Yeah, it looks like digital artwork. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. So, John, say what you got to say and get the hell out.
Oh, yeah.
And then I guess I'll just go through the line and end it. But
wait, say it again.
Say what you got to say and then get the hell out. This is what we do. It's just like,
oh, yeah, okay.
We can finally end it. We're never going to end.
The only thing I got to say is it's been a pleasure hanging out with you fine folks, and I look to do it again sometime. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for looking at any of my pictures, the food pictures, for example, that Cheshire was skimming through. I really, it's been wonderful. I hope you guys have a fantastic
night. We love you, man.
Night,
and I'm so glad
I'll see you again soon.
By the way, John, I didn't mean this very sincerely. I'm so honored to be your friend, and you know that.
That is a mutual feeling.
You are a good
brother.
man.
You are too, brother.
All right, peace, bro. All right, Leo, say what you got to say.
Bye, John.
Well, there actually was one thing that I wanted to say about Betelgeuse that is something that I would have to point out to people, and generally with some lay people, not with all of them, it's something that they would tend to overlook, and that is that Betelgeuse is 643 light years away. So anything that we see Betelgeuse doing now, it's not actually doing right now. That's what it was doing 643 years ago. So that is something that has to be factored in when about what Betelgeuse is actually doing, and that even if it were to go supernova right now, we'll never see it in our lifetime.
Well, yeah, but it could have gone supernova 642 years ago. But
it could have.
It's got a long ways to go. It was occultations of dust, like he said. He explained it perfectly because he's a PhD in astrophysics, so yeah, he knows his shit.
That it was just being obscured by dust, which was blocking naturally the electromagnetic radiation that it was emitting. But
him and Landon both told me that, and I agreed with them. Yeah.
To end it, thank you for having me in again, Steve. I really appreciate a lot of your videos, the content that you talk about. Something else that I want to point out is when I first subscribed to you, you had, I think, a little over 12,000 subscribers. You're at, I think, 14,000 now. So keep up the growth. I definitely think that you will. And any discussions that you have relating to science where you want to bring other people that are lay people that don't have degrees in to have a discussion about it or add any commentary, feel free to get a hold of me. I would absolutely love to.
No, I've got you in mind for that, and You know, and by the way, you know, my other channel had 33,000 subs before Kyle took it over. But you know, it's not always about the subs. You know, I've had this channel for like I don't know since 2013, and so if I wanted to be a bigger YouTuber, I could by getting involved in the right people. But I got to tell you, I'm glad that I didn't. My morals, my ethics, my considerations, my honor mean more to me, and I'm not going to suck up to anybody. I'm sure in the hell not going to have people have false allegations against me and not stick up for myself. And it's cost a lot. It has cost, you know. I could have been bigger, and it hurts. It has hurt my friends and people I love. People like Sweet Heathen, people like Manya, people like Chesh, people like Reds, people like Bull. But you know what? They have been troopers, and they've seen firsthand. And as long as I have people like them in my life and supporters, I'm not going anywhere. They're not doing anything to me. They're, you know, it's just I'm more concerned about the people I care about. They can go after me all they want. It's not, who cares? I don't watch their shit. But Manya, you know, I love Manya. And I love Chesh, and these guys, they mean something to me. And by the way, Vegan is she's grown on me as well. You know. All right, but thank you for that, buddy. All right.
You guys take it easy.
Yep. All right, so I don't want to be favoritism. I gotta equal thing. I gotta have sex, not sexism. So Vegan, say what you gotta say and get the fuck out.
I would just echo what we were talking about earlier. Just be kind, be better human. And mwah, love you too.
Don't be shitty humans. Yeah, thank you. We love you. All right, David.
Who, moi?
Yeah,
yes, moi. Say what I gotta say.
Take your time.
Yes.
Rant for a few. You've been quiet.
Yeah, I have been quiet. I don't know if everybody out there knows, but I'm kind of bummed about this whole Kyle situation. So anybody who watches me knows that I've been doing other stuff, and I'm going forward with the shills to do some things, and I will be producing the Non Sequitur show when it comes back. So that's already in the works.
Nice.
And
I just wanted to.
And I am a big fan of the shills. All of them over there, you know, Dick Kennedy in Space, and Dick Dawson, and Amy, and the rest of it, and you know, and Ilya Moon. You know, you guys over the shills. I mean, it's not a big show, but I gotta tell you, it's well done and it's entertaining, and they have been so kind and so giving to both you and I. We notice these things. We do notice the people that, you know, we've tried to help out them. They try to help us out. And so that's a mutually beneficial thing. And we remember those types of things because, you know, Dave and I, we've tried to help out other people. And what we got in our return was basically spat in our face and stabbed in the back, stabbed in the heart, stabbed in the gut. It happens. And so when you find people that don't do that to you, that you find people that you respect and go, hey, look, we want to help you guys out and they want to help us out, and we get along, like Dick Dawson and Jen Kennedy in Space and those guys, it means something. It really, honest to God, does. It means something because I have literally come to the conclusion there's pretty much two types of people in the world. Those that want to harm and those who want to help. And that's it. I don't see very much middle ground. There's just shitty people and there's not shitty people. And so I'm glad that Dave's getting involved with the good, not shitty people now. Because you had, by the way, you were producing for shitty people at one time and now you're not. And you produce for good people. So you come a long way.
That's not what I was getting at. What I was getting at was a little bit of shilling for myself, actually. So the shills are going to back me up on producing Prove It finally. So I'm actually going to get a show on my own channel that I do.
About time.
Oh, wow.
On
That's
a regular
awesome.
basis. So I don't know. I'm still kind of reeling at the thought of actually doing that show because the original inception was I'm going to have people in other locations help me do experiments that you could not otherwise do.
Oh,
I like that idea.
Right?
That's
like
cool.
people are always saying you can go out and do this yourself. That's the first thing you tell a flat earther. You can do this yourself.
Eratosthenes have got to be one of the first things you do. That would be amazing.
Well, that was what I came in with. That's what I was going to do with my friend in Colorado. We were going to do Eratosthenes.
That'd be amazing.
That's why I moved to Florida.
Do three,
but he
do
never
two
caught
and then
up with
three.
me.
That'd be fantastic.
Yep. 2 and 3, and then as many people as we can get, because there's, I don't know, Steamy Cup of Reasons in Vietnam. So that'd be an interesting angle for them to get at the Equinox.
I think Chucky Darwin's in Korea still.
Yeah. So let's see how our little theory stands up. I know Wolfie's done it, but let's do it ourselves. Let's see what happens. I'll take their word for it.
Yep. I love that idea. It's great, man. You're my buddy, one of my besties, and I will support you 1,000% in any projects that you do, and you know damn well that. So now get the fuck out.
All right, if I must.
All right, so I'm going to leave Resin here because he was the big donor for tonight. So Manya, my dearest Manya, my golden unicorn, my second or third, fourth backup plan. If things don't work out with Sweet.
Or Little Red.
Or Little Red, or whoever.
Or Nikki, or...
Dude, I've got so many backup just in case plans, right?
You got a harem, man.
Eventually, I got Rez as my last resort kind of thing. You know? But,
okay.
It's the accent. Whatever. But anyways, Manya, say what you got to say. Get the fuck out.
All right. I just have one advice for people who build up perceptions on basis of what they see on videos or live chats or anything. There's more to that, you know. There's always more stuff going on in the background. So before you start making assumptions about someone or about the people around that someone, maybe just talk to those people first, or ask them what's going on, or maybe talk to the person themselves about whom you're, building up a perception, whatever, positive or negative. Maybe interact with them before, maybe for some time before you decide whether you like them or not. And yeah, people will, there's a lot of hearsay. This is YouTube. Just do your own thing, man. Interact directly with us, and then we will, if you have any questions, we will talk to you and we will let you know. Don't come at us sideways. Come to us, genuinely, directly, and we will talk to you and we will answer you with the questions. And talk to us before you start building up a perception based on hearsay. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
I love that. Wise advice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We love you, Manya.
Take care, everybody. Good night.
All right. So now that we're alone together, Rez. Anyways, no. By the way, thank you for that super chat tonight. That was very nice of you. What do you got for us? And then you two get the fuck out. Because I'm gonna get the fuck out.
Why did you save me till last? Oh, nerve-wracking. I just want to say that I'm glad I found this community. These clusterfuck hangouts in particular, whether I'm a participant or not, the highlight of my day / week / month / whenever the fuck you can be bothered doing them. And I'm not a pessimist, but I am a disappointed optimist.
That's how that's how much I pretty much I do my life too, man. Because there's a lot of stuff going on. This week is going to be crazy. A lot of things are up in the air. I know a lot of people have been asking me questions that I just can't answer right now. Not because I don't want to, not because I can't. It's just I have to abide by certain other things from other people, and it's just up in the air right now. I'm not asking anybody to trust me or hold on or anything. It's just like there's a lot of shit going on, and we'll see what happens. It's just well, there's a lot of shit going on. I don't know how else to put it. It's hell. It's hell. It's dealing with a lot of things, and I'm glad that we have people like you, Rez, and other people in the community that recognize that there's a purpose for a group like ours. There's a purpose for the people that are trying to do the right thing, trying to provide entertainment, trying to provide education, and they're not going to just pull this, oh, well, I'm just going to conform because this person believes this, and therefore I have to believe that. Or, oh, this person is going to say this against me, and I'm just going to go, okay. We tend to fight back, but when people aren't seeing us fight back, there's reasons for it. It's not because we don't want to fight back. It's just that there's a lot of people in harm's way, and we look out for people we care about, and I look out for the people that I love, and they're in harm's way right now. So I've taken a little backtrack a little bit, but not by much, and it won't be for very long. But right now, it sucks. It sucks that there's people that are willing to do things in people's real life and to harm them. And I'm glad that people like you, Rez, are around to kind of keep us balanced, kind of keep us reminding us why we are still fighting the good fight,
And I also just look forward to us all going back to normal, back to where we belong.
Amen, right? I mean, would be nice, dude, right? I mean, can't we just go back to like talking about science and philosophy and having cool hangouts and not have to worry about shitty people fucking attacking? I mean, me, I'm used to, but when you're attacking my friends and people I care about, I mean, for fuck's sake, I mean, the lines that people have crossed, uncalculable and just unimaginable. And so it is what it is. So, but people can ask me so in private questions. I always get back to people. But anyways, Rez, I thank you for dropping by tonight. This was fun. This was actually my favorite kind of just chill hangout, you know? And we got Scott Clifton to come.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Good night, my friend. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys very much for watching. Again, this was fun. We are going to have Caffeine Corner on Monday. We were going to do something. We've decided to change plans a little bit. So I don't know exactly where we're going to go with it. But there's a lot of stuff going on this week. I still have supposedly an interview that was supposed to be done today on maybe it's going to happen on Saturday. We're a lot of, like I said, a lot of things are just happening right now. I don't have any information on the Kyle lawsuit because we're not going to be scheduled for a hearing until probably early June. And that's all we're waiting for, right? We just want the judge to say, hey, you were ordered to do these things, you didn't do them, go to jail, and until you make these things happen, you stay in jail. That's what we're looking for. That's the goal. So that's where we're at. I appreciate all the people that are members of the chat, all the people that have been Patreons, and we're going to try to put out stuff. We're going to be entertaining, and we're going to have science, philosophy, and may venture into a few other things as well. But I love you guys all, and I'm going to go eat because now that I listen to John Kroon cook, I'm hungrier than hell, man. I'm starving right now. So good night.